Oh, I can get my mouth around that thing. Oh.
Get 'em, Jimmy, where low shack at? The bottle's getting empty up the crack and we stacking chips. All of it's what I want, plus money winners, that's what I'm on. You can say I'm gone, I prefer elevated pub sports radio. Time to get educated, get produced, leave the juice, letting loose with so much abuse that the bookies wanna call a truce. They getting slaughtered, can't forget Jeff and low baggers in the chat. That's a lethal weapon, 'cause we be pubbing.
What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers? We are back in action. Happy Friday, December 30th to all of you. Thank you for watching Betting with the Bag right here on Pub Sports Radio. Was a battle getting here. Showed up at the airport Wednesday morning at 6:30 and arrived home 40 hours later last night at 11. The kids handled it very well. Hard to complain when your kids are handling everything so well. So, Jose drove 18 hours straight to be here. Now, he's not here, but he is in, I guess, his bed in San Antonio. But at least he tried to be here. And I assume he'll be here for the 2 p.m. show. Very difficult driving. He actually wasn't behind the wheel. But still, maybe if he wasn't behind the wheel, we don't need to have too much compassion for his plight. But he's not here. I am here, though, and so are a bunch of cappers in the chat. We have a you look like you need a vacation. Yeah. Oh, fuck, man. Fat Wally in the house says, want to wish all the Lowback family a very happy new year. I will be producing the show at this point, so there will be there'll be no games set up for us to no, there won't be games on the no, there won't be. So we'll just do the best we can. Look, I'll do the best we can. Tori Coker in the house says, what up, guys? Back ready to hit the bookies across the head. Real Deal Prime, North Ender, Kurt Gray, Sammy Calmer, Serious Business, Danny Lopez, Rob Garvey, Rocco Rogers. What a great group. Mike M ready to get back to work. Jimmy Gomez in the house. Leonard Porsche Jr., Viper NB, Nasty Nate, Kevin K, Clint Star, the Die Hard MMA podcast, Lucas Ryan, Troy Torrance, JW, Justin McElvey, Terrell Riley, ready to get to work, Jeffrey Blue, Wine Time Sports, Timmy OG, Rem Most. Am I looking taller? I did have to set everything up here in a very short amount of time because there's a lot of games today, man. There's a lot of games today, dude. And we're popping right off with Bobano. And we will start with the Mayo Bowl. And then we're going to get right into the nooner in college basketball, North Carolina, Pittsburgh. Then we'll go through the rest of college football games. And I worked hard on them. Then we'll go into college basketball. So we're going to focus on college sports for the first hour, probably 20 of the show. We plan for you guys trying to figure out, when you really want to be ready to rock here. In an hour and 42 minutes, Dutch Boy Fresh joins us for NBA. So that's that's our situation here. JR RVD 420 Slatsy, nice job, 6-2 in NHL last night. Drug Monkey RX Imp Nut Flush Allen says Kristen and I are loading up the truck for Las Vegas, leaving right now. Says if any low baggers are in Vegas, let's party. C-Mac and I are planning on watching the college football playoffs together. I love that. Clint says, how about those Coyotes? They've been very good. D. Mills, fresh off a cruise. Nice, D. Mills. You're probably more relaxed than I am. Gary Tenebra. And Jimmy Gomez says, great, give me time to cap while y'all do NCAA. Yeah, perfect. Just so you guys know the situation here. BJ says NC State, moneyline, Notre Dame, moneyline. Jeffrey Blue, look, the Oats have been good, man. It's very difficult to have the balls to back them. I know Clint does often, but I have not been fading them. That's about the best I can tell you. Troy Torrance says most important metrics this bowl season seems to be red zone and third down efficiencies. It is tricky. There's a whole bunch. There's so many moving parts with who's in and who's out. So really being able to predict a pace of play and things of that nature, third down efficiency with quarterbacks they haven't used all year, with their best wide receivers opting out, it is very difficult. But we will do that together. And Bobano will be joining us shortly. So let's get right to work. We have a bowl game popping off in 51 short minutes. The Mayo Bowl. The Terps, Maryland, 7-5 versus number 23 ranked NC State Wolfpack, Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte, North Carolina. Let me get up my line history here for us. It was a battle this morning. It was a battle last night. It's been a nonstop battle for 48 hours. Sports Insights. There we go. Locked in. Welcome back. Thank you. I have this locked, ready to go. And then let's get our line history ready to rock and roll here. Okay, we are in business. Absolute business. Okay. Loopy ready to eat. Jonathan Yim, Joey Harb. Great to have all of you guys. And great to have the star of our Friday shows, Mr. Consistent. Ooh-wee. By the way, I did all of the NFL Pub Hub records while Carter was sleeping for 20 minutes. Actually, Ella slept on the plane. Carter slept for about 20 minutes. But I did all the Pub Hub records off another big week in NFL. Now, this is week 15, right? There was no NFL Pub Hub week 16. He went 8-5 plus 2.64 units, which means in week 14 and 15 combined, he went 16-8 plus 7.3 units. He's 71-51 plus 14.7 units on NFL Pub Hub. And even though it's on January 1st, which is a holiday for some, it's not a holiday for our next guest. He's going to be batting leadoff on our NFL Pub Hub show Sunday morning. Please welcome to the show from Hamilton, Ontario, Canada's black and yellow, Ian Cameron to the show. Oh, and I have to do that. Bobano, how are you, my man?
You made it through that horror show that is Petersen Airport. You've gone through a lot, my friend.
It was, after all of it, after the 39, 40 hours, we finally get there. And of course, there's no car seat. No car seat. Didn't make it. Didn't bother coming along with us. But yeah, I'm happy to be back in action and get back to some normality. And I'm excited to get to work with you, my friend. Are you ready to immediately attack the Mayo Bowl with me?
Yeah, this is not a game I'm involved in, but we'll give you as much info as we can on it.
Let's get to work right now. We will start with the line history here for this one. This one opened up, and it depends, of course, which books you look at, but we're focusing on Pinnacle. Not a ton of movement here, but NC State did open up as a very slight dog and became a favorite. Better to look at it from the money line. A money line, NC State opened up at plus 102. That was back on the 5th of December. They're now minus 121. And the biggest move has been, in the last 24 hours. Take a look at the total. This total opened up at 45.5 and is now at 46. So this did get up as high as 48, but now at 46. Let's take a look at the cash flow on this one. We have almost, 75% perceived line value from Sports Insights on NC State. 25,854 tickets in, 68% of the tickets and 88% of the cash on NC State. It's an alarming amount of money. 48% of the tickets and 78% of the cash on the over. It doesn't feel like the market is too concerned about all that money on NC State or all that money on the over. Isaiah Scurry ready to get to work with us. There's Jordy Nordman in the house. All right, so let me set a quick table for our man Bobano. Maryland's come back-to-back winning seasons under head coach Mike Locksley. They've been good. Last year, they capped off their season with the win over Virginia Tech in the Pinstripe Bowl. They come in off a 37 beatdown of Rutgers. Tagovailoa finished 25 of 37 for 342 yards and a touchdown. Against NC State, though, 3 of his go-to receivers will be unavailable. Raheem Jarrett, Jacob Copeland, and Dante Demas Jr. have all opted out of the program. They may not be as important, some would say, as C.J. Dupree I know that he didn't have a monster season, but 6'5", 260-pound tight end. He is transferred to Alabama. So they lose that red zone threat, will definitely be drafted in the NFL. So they had 10 players total enter the transfer program. They rely on their rushing attack. They will have freshman Roman Hemby, 924 yards, 10 touchdowns, and Antoine Littleton, the second. They'll have both of those guys ready to go. Let's talk about NC State. Off to a disappointing start to their season. They turned it around in the second half. Their quarterback to start the year, Devin Leary, he's in the transfer portal. He's committed to Kentucky. His backup, MJ Morris, suffered a lower body injury on November 12th during their loss to Boston College. And I don't know. At this point, it's if Morris doesn't play, Ben Finley will be under center. So we saw Finley in that upset against North Carolina in Chapel Hill. He was 27-40 for 271 yards, 2 touchdowns. And Finley, so let's just get this straight here. Finley decided to leave the Wolfpack, and so did Devin Carter. So you have, this is messed up. So I guess we have to expect. Who do you expect? Let me ask you, who do you expect at quarterback for NC State? And NC State, remember, the only thing they can do very, very well that we know they can do is stop the run. And they're going to need to here. They're going to need to. So who do you expect at quarterback NC State? Let's start off there and then take it away, Maryland, NC State.
Yeah, I think it'll be MJ Morris. It looks like it's going to be him. And it was Finley to finish the regular season. And the reason for that is Morris was a little bit banged up, but it looks like they're going to go with him. MJ Morris listed as the quarterback here. Hasn't played since November 12th. He's had a lower body injury since then. He played okay, 5 games, he'd been excellent, actually. 648 yards, 7 touchdowns, 1 interception, very good numbers. I can understand why they'd want him in there if he's healthy. Their offense, is a little bit up and down, erratic. They like to run the football a lot. But no, with Morris, he played pretty well. The one concern is they've got one of their receivers out, Devin Carter, but their best receiver is Thayer Thomas. He's going to play, so that's a good sign. Everybody on the defense is playing. There's no opt-outs on defense for NC State, the strength of the team all year. So that's significant. On the Maryland side of things, Little Tua, I don't think Little Tua played as well this year. I think he kind of didn't play as well as he did last year. I think he was more inconsistent, a lot more interceptions, not as many touchdown passes. Definitely not what you wanted to see from him. The defense actually played a little bit better for Maryland this year, but I thought offensively they took a step back. I thought Little Tua Tagovailoa took a step back as well. They have lost all 3 of their best receivers essentially to opt-outs here, Maryland, for this game. Dante Demas isn't going to play. Jacob Copeland's not going to play. Raheem Jarrett isn't going to play in this game for Maryland. So they're going to be very shorthanded at wide receiver. They're going to need some of these young kids to step up. Now, we saw with North Carolina, they got a couple of those young kids stepping up. So you can't always assume these guys that are taking the spots now at receiver are not going to get the job done. But it's still, is the chemistry going to be there? That is a legit question. It's a really tough bowl game. I think when you look at just the rosters on both sides, it looks like it's a little more at full strength for NC State in this game compared to Maryland. So I guess I'd lean a little to the Wolfpack, and obviously they have a solid defense as well. The game probably is an under, but I don't like betting unders when the total's in the mid-40s like this. So I'm passing the game, lean NC State, lean under.
Yeah, it's interesting that this total was up at 48. I say that the books have showed no fear with the 78% of cash on the over. This got up to 48 and it's dropped to 46. It got as low as 45.5. It just feels like they're opening their arms up to anybody who wants to bet an over here. North Ender says betting public likes NC State and the books are respecting it. I guess I don't know if I think I would expect a bigger move when you have 68% of tickets and 88% of the cash to go a 20-cent move on the money line. I don't know. I don't know if I can understand why you want to stay off of it, and I can understand Ragu in our chat's interest on the under. He's going to go with both team totals under. I guess I have some interest in the under. I'm going to sit with it for a little bit longer, and while we break down the other games. That game pops off now in 41 minutes. The Mayo Bowl. Northander says his only play is the under. Troy Torrance, I mean, definitely they have a preference on the side of, if you have almost 9-1 of the cash on one side, they would be very happy if Maryland took over. Pinnacle has just moved it to 2, so if they're showing something, this is fascinating at this point. But the books surely.
Dave Doran's a good bowl coach, by the way, as well. He's covered 5-7 in bowl games, 5-2 ATS. So you do have to pay attention to that too. The ATS records of coaches in bowl games, because you're going to see some that are good, some that are awful.
Troy Torrance not seeing 9-1. I hope the site you're looking at for those numbers costs $1,500 a year, because if it's free, I would listen to my numbers. Let's move on to the next. Oh, no, we're going to move over to college basketball here very quickly. We're going to talk about North Carolina 9-4, 1-1 in the ACC at Pittsburgh, 9-4, 2-0 in the ACC.
Now this is basketball. Make sure you get that. This is
we are switching over to the nooner here. This game pops off in 40 minutes, so we want you guys to be all set up for the action here. So North Carolina comes in off its 4th straight win, 80-76 at home, as 5.5-point favorites over Michigan. That was 9 days ago. When we break down these college basketball games, there's another layer of trickiness here with so many of these teams that have been off for 9 or 10 days, and I'm looking forward to hear how Bobano deals with that. Pitt comes in off its 3rd straight win, 84-82 at Syracuse, as 3.5-point dogs 10 days ago on December 20th. So let's take a look at the line history here. We'll move over to college basketball and get you guys set. Then we'll go right back to the bowl games. But we just want you guys to be, have as much information as possible for these games that are popping off here at noon. Let's move over here. Okay, here we go. So Pitt opened up as 5-point dogs. They got up to 6.5, and they're sitting as 6-point dogs right now. That's a bookmaker. Let me move over to Pinnacle. Pinnacle, they've gone from 5.5 to 6.5. From the total side of things, it's gone from 148.5 to 149.5. And when we come over to the cash flow here, we have 6,387 tickets in. So a ton of tickets in, and it's all coming in on Pittsburgh, which is surprising that it's markets moving towards North Carolina. 69% of the tickets, 92% of the cash on Pittsburgh, 53% of tickets, 60% of the cash on the under. And pace-wise here, so let's just see this total here is at opened up at 148.5, is at 149.5. North Carolina this year playing as the 22nd fastest team in America, 75.8 possessions a game, while Pittsburgh much slower at 150th. Well, not much slower, 71.4 possessions a game. Take it away for us here, Bobano. The nooner in the ACC. Can Pittsburgh stay undefeated against the 25th ranked Tar Heels?
Yeah, I mean, I ain't betting against Pittsburgh. I know that. This team is 8 straight covers. I don't like, though, that Hughley may not play for them. He has been big time the reason why they've been much improved here in the last month or so. His return from an early season absence, and he's out, it looks like, for sure for this game. So, and it's not an injury. It's a personal situation, personal matter. And that matters. And, now you're going up, and with all due respect to Pitt beating, NC State and Northwestern, and Syracuse was a nice win as well. North Carolina is a little step up from that, but I definitely lean Pitt. And look, North Carolina's done nothing on the road other than lose to Virginia Tech by 8, not look impressive. And there was another true road game they had early in the season. They didn't play well there either, at Indiana, blown out 77-65. Yeah, Pittsburgh or nothing. I actually think this team is still dramatically undervalued. 8 straight point spread covers for them, 7-1 straight, 8-1 straight up, 8-0 against the spread. In their 8-0 against the spread their last 8 games, and they're 8-1 straight up in their last 9 games. The only loss was by 1 at Vanderbilt. So there's no way I'm laying this kind of number here with North Carolina. They've been too erratic for my liking. Now, they have shown signs of playing better here the last few games. Georgia Tech, they pounded them. They've won 4 straight. They've covered 3 of those 4. They had a nice win against Ohio State on a neutral court. found a way to get past Michigan 80-76 in their last game. They've got the guys that are experienced: Leaky Black, Armando Bacot, Caleb Love, RJ Davis. They're all starting to play better, after not exactly having a great start to the season. So, I look at this as a situation where, again, I lean Pitt. Pitt's been very good to me. I've been riding them a lot, but I don't know if I will today.
Yeah, this is just from your breakdown combined with my thoughts of the teams, and then looking at the market with all of this. This is a lot. Like, we don't usually get the opportunity on these morning games in college basketball to have over 6,000 tickets in to, add to our information. See so much money on Pittsburgh, and the line still moving towards Carolina. Feels like the books are opening their arms up to Pittsburgh money. W. Arthur looking at North Carolina first half says Pitt can cover full game, but North Carolina will jump on them early. And yeah, this does not appeal to me here. So you are staying off this nooner here, and it's going to be tricky.
If Pittsburgh covers, but I feel I'm going to stay off it. Yeah. And
it's going to be tricky when we go after the college football, when we go over to basketball, because can you why don't you just touch on it just to give us an idea where you're leading? What's your feeling about backing teams off of 9 or 10 days off over the Christmas holidays? Is it the type of situation where if a team is rolling, you think that they're susceptible because they've been off for 9 or 10 days, that the momentum doesn't carry through the Christmas break? Is there any angle that you have just for us to know as we move into the college basketball breakdown?
Yeah, that's more something for me that I find in pro sports happens a lot, where if there's a team that's on a break, they're rolling going into the break, sometimes that can ruin momentum. Or if they're struggling going into a break, sometimes that can be the wake-up call, the chance to hit the reset button, and they come out of the break playing better. Like Florida last night in the NHL, for instance. Panthers needed the break in the worst way, and they came out of the break with their best game, by far. They were ready, and they put the boots to Montreal. It's a little more random in college basketball because you got a bigger discrepancy in talent, one team to the next. So those trends of, the team rolling going into the break gets disrupted, and the team struggling going into the break uses it as a reset. It's not as consistent that plays out that way in college basketball or any college sports, in my opinion, compared to pro.
Yeah, that's helpful for us, leading, so you don't put too much emphasis into the break in college. Great stuff coming in from the chat. By the way, our guy Wild Hound, our guy William over across the pond is a Premier League goal scoring parlay plus 4,133. And you guys all saw what he did in the World Cup with us. He gave out some huge bangers. So thank you for sharing that with us, William. All right, let's switch gears again back to college football here, and we'll let our guy Wine Time bring us into this. He's on UCLA first half team total over 14.5 at minus 115. Says UCLA is barely any opt-outs. This is a smash spot for UCLA. Got in minus 3.5 at full game, and now it's minus 8.5. And there's Dabby Cab in the house with his action as well. Thank you for sharing that with us, Dabby. Let's lock this in here. By the way, Big Ragoo talking about that first game we spoke of says Loxley, second bowl appearance in 8 years. One and only a bowl appearance 2 years ago, Virginia Tech. Okay, so we have Dabby Cab's action and picks from Dave agreeing with our guy saying college players are too busy during the break going to karate classes and trying to get girls pregnant. That's not busy. Just that doesn't sound too busy. I don't know. I didn't realize karate class was on the agenda. Okay, let's get to work. Back to college football. 2 p.m. Eastern, the Sun Bowl. Pittsburgh Panthers 8-4 versus UCLA Bruins 9-3. We're in El Paso, Texas for this one. Let's take a look at the line history here. Pinnacle has moved this to 7.5 from opening it at minus 4. From a total perspective, it opened up at 60.5 and it's dropped all the way down to 54.5. Now it dropped down to 53, which I guess some people thought was the floor, and it's moving back up. Sammy Comer dropping some Premier League action as well. I'll pop that here in the chat. Let's go to the cash flow for this one. Oh, sorry, of course. Here we go. We have 26,462 tickets in at this price point. Sports Insights has given Pittsburgh full line value. Now, it's one thing when you get them at 3.5, like Wine Time. It's another if you want them at 7.5. At this point, 32% of the tickets are on Pitt, but 53% of the cash. Again, this game pops off in 2 hours and 31 minutes. 26% of the tickets and 58% of the cash is on the under. And clearly that's sharp money on the under. Ragu says Pitt will be a shell of a team here, but Stimmy OG is on Pitt +8. Let's set a table here for Bobano. So, UCLA's had a strong season. Chip Kelly's done a nice job with this group. And despite the, Dorian Thompson-Robinson or Zach Charbonnet, who are going to be, they're high on the draft charts, the guys are all playing. Even some that are in the transfer portal, they're playing. Thompson-Robinson threw for 2,883 yards, ran for 631, accounted for 39 touchdowns. That's just 4 less than Caleb Williams accounted for. Charbonnet was the Pac-12's top rusher, 1,359 yards, 7 yards per carry, 14 touchdowns, 507.8 yards per game. That was 3rd in the nation. Their defense, though, not nearly as strong. They allowed 400 total yards a game, 275.5 through the air. Now, Narduzzi's Panthers are missing a ton of players today. They have won 4 straight, but Slovis has transferred, and running back Israel Abanikanda has opted out. He will be in the draft. Nick Patty will be the Sun Bowl starter. They'll have freshman Nate Yarnell, who will be watching and may get in a few plays. So it's a tough spot here for this squad. They're going to have the sophomore Rodney Hammond Jr. He will be in place of their star running back. I mean, their running back went for 1,431 rush yards, and he is not going to be in this one. But they were strong defensively, very, very strong defensively, especially against the run, allowing just 95.5 yards per game. This is a very tricky one. Is 7.5 too many points, or do you agree with Wine Time that this is a smash spot? Bobano, take it away.
My first thought when this bowl game was announced and I saw, my first thought was, how excited is UCLA going to be for this game? Because, they were in the contention for the Pac-12 championship, to be in the Rose Bowl, maybe even to be in the playoff at one point early in the season. And all of those things went out the window with down the stretch with the few losses they suffered. So they end up here in the Sun Bowl. But from all indications, they're excited. There's nobody in the transfer portal out of UCLA. Nobody has opted out. Dorian Thompson-Robinson, Jake Bobo, Zach Charbonnet, all the weapons here for UCLA are apparently in. And this is, by the way, going to be DTR's final game with UCLA at quarterback. So, this has that feel of a rah-rah spot for UCLA, that they are actually hyped for this bowl game. And everybody's in there and accounted for and excited. And I think they want to send DTR out the right way. From all indications. And Pittsburgh, yes, normally in regular circumstances, this team has, a pretty good defense. But I don't know if it's going to be that way today. Well, first of all, we know Keaton Slovis hit the transfer portal. He's gone. Nick Patty is going to be the quarterback. Now, the positive for Pitt is Nick Patty has been in the program for a few years now. He's been with Pitt for a few years. He started a few games, not a ton. He got a couple of snaps earlier this year. But here's the thing. Kenny Pickett took his job years ago when they were battling for the starting spot. And then they didn't have enough confidence in Nick Patty after Kenny Pickett got drafted to the NFL to give him a shake at the starting quarterback spot. And they brought in Keaton Slovis through the transfer portal. So how good can Nick Patty be? When Pickett beats you out, Pickett moves on. You don't even have the confidence to start him. Patty, who's been in the program for years, you bring Slovis in instead. How good can he be? Obviously Pitt doesn't think, he was their best option at quarterback. So I don't know if he's going to be very good. I certainly, based on everything Pitt's done with this guy and not give him really a fair shake, you'd think they probably don't think he's that great compared to some other options. So I don't know if I trust him to play well today. It is a UCLA defense that was a little shaky, but this is a limited Pitt offense. They had Abanaconda, the running back, is going to be out for this game as well. And they've got multiple defensive starters that are not going to play here. Servokea Dennis on the linebacker, Deslin Alexander, defensive end, Brandon Hill at safety. multiple opt-outs on the defensive side of the football for Pitt. So, yeah, when full strength, it's a very good defense. You're missing key players on all three levels of the defense. You got Nick Patty, who is a big fat question mark at quarterback, how good he's going to play. You got UCLA loaded for bear. You've got Pitt and Pat Narduzzi, who, by the way, is 1-4 ATS in bowl games in his coaching career. He's not been a bet-on bowl coach. I fully get the line move to UCLA. I actually laid 5 with UCLA a couple days ago. I figured the line had to go up, especially as we found out that all these guys for UCLA were going to play. It's getting up there, but what I will do for sure is take UCLA first half here, minus 4.5, make that an official play. I think this is just this looks like a blowout spot for the Bruins, in my opinion.
UCLA first half here. It's interesting. Another interesting thing, and we can often be looking too closely at this, but North Ender is saying that Penny's giving a 7.5, while Bet365's at -9, and it's always a red flag for Loshak when Penny gives the best number. And then here you see Bobano and Wine Time, guys who got it under the touchdown, don't want it over the touchdown. So interesting things here. And anybody in the LA area, our guy Wine Time Sports is going to be watching this game of the first Orange County area. Anyone there, he will be watching the game of the First Class Pizza. First Class Pizza. If anybody wants to hang out in Orange County and watch this one. I remember so well being in LA, and I was a huge Zaga fan and watching Gonzaga lose to UCLA in basketball in a college bar down there, and watching Adam Morrison crying on the floor. And I had been kind of loud a bit when Gonzaga was rolling, so watching the UCLA come back and everybody celebrating around me. It's fun place to watch sports, man. Thank you for sharing that with us, Wine Time. Let's lock in our guy Bobano's first half look here on UCLA. I certainly don't have the balls to test any of these market theories here with the full line value at Sports Insights on Pittsburgh. And I watched an interview of Nick Patty this morning, and I was like, I see why he has not been the guy. You want your quarterback to have a little bit of a cockiness, swagger. Nick Patty didn't quite have that, but
no.
Soft-spoken, nice boy. So we can get you that -4.5, -105 at 5 dimes. The -4 at Pinnacle is -129. So we'll give you the -4.5 at -1. First half -4.5, -105. All right, we are in business. Lucci Mello in the house. Mo Harris. Is it Dabby Cab's birthday? Come on. Did I miss that?
Yeah, it was. Belated happy birthday, Dabby Cab. I forgot to mention that to him. Happy birthday. Hope you had a good one.
I missed that as well. I should have been celebrating for you while I was in the airport, drinking shots. I
always miss people's birthdays and wishing them happy birthday when it's like a Christmas holiday season birthday. It's never fails.
But much love to you, Dabby Cab, Stimmy OG.
That's what's good about being a July birthday boy like me. It's much easier for people to remember it.
It is a nice time of year.
Right,
Let's get to work on the Gator Bowl. I've not moved on the first two games. This one, 3:30 p.m. Eastern. Number 21 ranked Notre Dame Fighting Irish 8-4 versus number 19 South Carolina Gamecocks 8-4. We're at TIAA Bank Field in Jacksonville, Florida. Let me just make sure all this is okay. Yeah, we're good to go. Okay. All right. So both teams.
Is that serious, Timmy OG? That's sorry to hear that. That prison story. Yeah.
I'm not sure what to believe with our guy Stimmy OG.
I'm just saying, if it's true, I'm going to take it at face value. That's very unfortunate. I'm sorry you got to deal with something like that.
Okay. Well, you have Stimmy. You've received compassion from Bobano. All right. And if I'm laughing at something that I shouldn't be, I apologize. I don't know. Stimmy throws curveballs.
Yep.
Bobano, he throws curveballs.
That was a curveball.
Okay, all right, let's go.
That was a curveball 10 feet off the plate. Yeah.
Let's go. Fighting Irish Gamecocks, TIAA Bank Field in Jacksonville, Florida. Let's start with the line history here. But I think he was like happy to see you're delivering the compassion. I think that was the Notre Dame opening up as 5.5-point favorites, now 3.5-point favorites. From a total perspective, opening up at 53.5 and now 50. Now 50. Real Deal Prime thinks it's true. A lot of us would want our baby mothers locked up, but his got out. All right, let's take a look at the cash flow here. Notre Dame, South Carolina. We have 23,471 tickets in, 51% of the tickets and 66% of the cash on the Gamecocks. They've given slight line value, about 20% line, maybe less, 15% line value on South Carolina. Then total wise, 39% of the tickets and 55% of the cash is on the under, 39 and 55 on the under. And we've seen that. So here is a game where clearly where the money has gone, the books are being concerned. Both teams, as I said, got off to tough starts and have finished the season very strong. Notre Dame lost its first 2 games, Ohio State, and then at home against Marshall, which was a shock. Then they go 8-1 before losing that finale at USC. Their passing game was weak, less than 200 yards a game, and now Drew Pine is in the transfer portal. He's off to Arizona State, which leaves Tyler Buckner as the only quarterback on the roster with any game experience. He started 2 games, 28 to 50 for 378 yards, 2 interceptions, a couple rushing touchdowns and losses to Ohio State and Marshall before he hurt his non-throwing shoulder with an AC sprain. And he's ready to go. And there was some times he didn't look awful, I thought, in those 2 games. I didn't pin those losses on him necessarily. So Freeman has called him the starter. So Tyler Buckner will be under center. And Michael Mayer is opting out. So this is probably the top tight end in the nation. He was their leading receiver, 67 receptions, 809 yards. And this team only had 22 touchdown catches all season long. So he had 9 of them. So Lorenzo Styles and Jaden Thomas become the main looks here. These are guys, Styles 340 yards receiving, Thomas 295 yards receiving. Not very good. But their running game is dangerous. Audric Estime, Logan Diggs, Chris Tyree, 2,000 yards rushing combined. And it was Estime who ran for 825 and 11 touchdowns. South Carolina started slowly, lost 2 of its first 3 games. Then they won 5 of 7, but they finished the season, I should say, like monsters. Spencer Rattler looked the best he's looked in his career. They destroyed Tennessee 63-38. And then they win their first Palmetto Bowl since 2013 over Clemson. So their number 1 receiver, Antwain Wells, has entered the transfer portal. He will not play. So there's a lot of moving parts here. And clearly sharp money on both the Gamecocks and the under. So I guess there's a belief that Tyler Buckner will not get the job done. Let's hear it from you, Ian, my man. Notre Dame, South Carolina.
Yeah, this one's a fascinating one on both sides because I bet South Carolina +5 weeks ago. So this has been a weird line move. Then it got down to as low as 2.5. And at that point, I'm like, you can't recommend South Carolina on the show or anywhere else now after that kind of move. But now it's been bumped back up to 3.5. So now it's a little stronger now on South Carolina. You get above a field goal with the Gamecocks in this game. Now, they do have some absences. There's no doubt. Top cornerback, Cam Smith, isn't playing. Zach Pickens, defensive tackle. Darius Rush, another cornerback, out. That's all concerning for sure. Offensive lineman's out for them as well. Transfer portal, a couple of guys entered there for them as well. They've got Josh Van, one of their wide receivers, battling a knee injury. Definitely some issues for South Carolina. But you mentioned Notre Dame, Michael Mayer, the number 1 option throwing the football by far in the passing game. Foskey, the defensive end's out. Drew Pine transferred, so it's going to be Tyler Buckner returning. Now, Tyler Buckner is the guy that won the starting quarterback job, early in the season, but then struggled, and that's when Drew Pine ended up coming back and getting the job here in this one. But look, South Carolina finished the season playing their best football, as strong as you could ask for. When you beat Clemson and Tennessee the way they did, who coincidentally enough are playing in the Orange Bowl tonight, it was impressive. And Spencer Rattler kind of had a mediocre season. Then all of a sudden, he's lighting it up, throwing the football. Is that going to carry over to this bowl game? Or was that just in those 2 games he got red hot? Now the break is going to stunt momentum. I guess we'll find that out. But I don't feel good laying more than a field goal with Notre Dame's offense because I don't know what I'm going to get from Buckner. South Carolina, they should be able to run the football, though. With the Estime has been excellent running the ball. They're not great stopping the run. South Carolina, I think that could be a little bit of an issue for them in this game, but number's been bumped back up to 3.5. I'd certainly take the points with South Carolina before I lay them with Notre Dame.
I'm interested in South Carolina. Am I late to the party and early to the funeral? Star Child says I had South Carolina against Tennessee and Clemson. Don't feel the same about backing them here. Is this a number that is actually not good because of how well they looked, how good they played at the end of the year, or do you feel like it's a little late to the party?
Well, it could be, but you look at Notre Dame too. Is they've definitely had issues finishing drives. Red zone offense has been a problem all season long for Notre Dame, in my opinion. And now you're getting this number where closer to where it was initially. When you're looking at 4s now, are starting to show up with South
just
Carolina.
Had a 4.5 just hit the board at Pinnacle.
Yeah, there you go. So they're betting Notre Dame right now, late money coming in on that side. Man, now South Carolina is definitely it went from when it fell below 3. I'm like, now you can't bet it now. You can absolutely bet South Carolina now. 4.5 at Caesars as well. So yeah, I think the concern here for South Carolina is momentum broken up. They are missing a couple guys on the defensive side, but again, Notre Dame with their offense missing Mayer's a huge loss. You look at the receiving production after him, the receiving core for the Fighting Irish this year was not great. So they're going to have to run the football, which in theory they should be able to do. But I still think at this number, it's South Carolina for me. I love the way they played, and I like Beamer. I like Beamer as a coach. Beamer won his only bowl game. Let's not forget that last year. We talk about coaches. You want to know what their track record is in bowl games. This is the second bowl for Shane Beamer. Last year, he won his first bowl game against North Carolina. So he's 1-0 straight up, 1-0 against the spread. So maybe this is a coach we can trust, to have his team ready and focused and for their bowl game. And he certainly did that last year.
Huh. So are you going to make South Carolina official at 4.5?
I'm going to now because I bet it at +5 weeks ago. Obviously, we've had a lot of information, and there's negative information for both sides going into this game in terms of opt-outs, in terms of who's going to who's going to be in, who's going to be out. But let's be honest, South Carolina hands it to beats Clemson, hands it to Tennessee. That's pretty impressive. I mean, I know Notre Dame beat Clemson as well during their season, but yeah, now with the number bouncing back up, we'll make South Carolina official here.
+4.5 at -108. I'm going to be watching this closely. This game pops off, 3 hours and 45 minutes. So still have time. As Nuffler saying, Notre Dame fans will pour money in all the way to the kickoff. So, okay. So Bobano is second move here of the day. UCLA first half -4.5. Do you agree with,
the UCLA bet, by the way, the first half, I figure if they don't cover the first half, they're not going to cover the full game. Because if they don't come out and bury Pittsburgh early, that tells me they're not interested. That tells me they're not really all that focused, excited, and they're just, their minds aren't locked in and they're playing sloppy and they're just, their execution is off. So to me, that's why I think UCLA, if they don't cover the first half spread, they're probably not covering 8.5 either. That's the way I see it.
All right, we'll roll on. Do you agree with this move quickly? Because we got a bunch of work to do here. But do you agree with the move to the under?
I did it initially. It's getting pretty low though now, 50.5. But again, Notre Dame's definitely not an over team. South Carolina, well, their last 2 games we did see a lot of points. The Tennessee game, the Clemson game, but those were teams that are going to push the ball downfield and quick strike offense, great playmakers. Notre Dame doesn't have that right now. And Notre Dame doesn't have the quarterback play that Clemson and Tennessee have either.
All right. And look at this from Lee Davis. Tagovailoa may not start due to disciplinary reasons.
There you go. Wow.
This story just popping off now. We would love more information, Lee. If you could get that for us. Wild. All right, and a few other players involved as well. Wild. God. All right, let's move on to the next spot on the board, the Arizona Bowl. Ohio Bobcats 9-4, Wyoming Cowboys 7-5. We're at Arizona Stadium in Tucson. Take a look at the line history for this one. We have Wyoming opening up as 3-point dogs. They're now 2.5-point dogs. Take a look at the total. Opened up at 43, is now at 41.5. And I can understand why this total is so low. Looking at this under, but sidewise, 60% of the tickets, 64% of cash is on Ohio, and they have given Wyoming line value here. 40% of the tickets are on the over and 54% of the cash. So it looks like there are some sharper, bigger bets on the over. And wow, BJ says that line is moving. NC State now -2. Troy Torrance says, I'm on Ohio. These bowl games mean a lot to MAC teams. Wyoming missing significant pieces. Ohio defense is stout. North Ender on the other side for Wyoming. Wyoming's lost 7 players to the transfer portal, and their star running back Titus Swen is being dismissed from the team. He led Wyoming with 1,039 yards and 8 touchdowns. So he's gone, and they had season-ending injuries to their second and third rushers. So Dwayne McNeely and DQ James both out for the year. So who's going to be running the ball for Wyoming? We know that the defense is very good. They held teams to 23.4 points per game, 369 yards per game. But their offense is struggles. It just struggles. Peasley, 1,388 yards passing, 8 picks and 9 touchdowns. Let's head over to Ohio. Tim Albin's done a hell of a job over there. 7 straight wins to clinch the MAC East before losing to Toledo in the conference championship game. And this offense took a hit with Curtis Rourke getting hurt. Of course, his brother starring with the BC Lions. MAC Player of the Year, Curtis was. And he got hurt. Season-ending injury against Ball State on November 15th. CJ Harris has taken over the job. And Harris, 27 to 52, 359 yards, touchdown, and a pick in 2 starts. 38 points against Bowling Green. Everything looked great, but they were held to 7 points in that loss to Toledo. They do have Sia Bangura, though, MAC Freshman of the Year, 940 yards rushing and 12 touchdowns. But since Rourke went down, he's been stopped. He had 152 yards in the 2 games with Rourke out, because clearly if you're not concerned about CJ Harris, you can fill the box, and they've been doing that against Bangura and stopping Ohio. Take it away for us here, Bobano. Ohio, Wyoming.
Yeah, I could only take Wyoming here, but Bowl in a bowl game, no pun intended here. I don't bet against Craig Bowl in a bowl game. He's a great bowl coach. I don't think he's failed to cover as a bowl coach either. And this is a very good Wyoming defense. Now, offense, they're going to be very compromised. This definitely screams under, but I ain't betting under at this number. As simple as that. Yeah, Craig Bowl, 11-3 against the spread in bowl games. No question about that. I want to take Wyoming. I am concerned that Titus Swen's not playing. I'm concerned they're beaten up at the running back spot. That does concern me, because Andrew Peasley is not exactly a quarterback where we can say, yeah, Andrew Peasley, go win the game for me. No, it's going to have to be running the football with whoever's left at the running back spot for the Wyoming Cowboys for this game. And that looks like it's going to fall on the shoulders of McNeely and James for this game. Peasley, hopefully he doesn't make too many mistakes. They do have a solid defense, Ohio, but for all the questions I have with Wyoming's offense, you could say that about Ohio without Rourke. I mean, there's been a huge drop-off. CJ Harris can't throw the football downfield. He's not a great pocket passer. He doesn't have great accuracy. He doesn't have great touch with the football. And I think Wyoming can stop the run, force him into, it's going to be who's going to make the least amount of mistakes, because neither of these quarterbacks are that trustworthy or that good here with Harris and Peasley. But you look at that Wyoming track record, and they're catching points here in this one. Wyoming definitely is the lean for me.
So, but we have McNeely and James are out. So we have the 4th string running back in.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be enough to keep Wyoming from being an official play for me. I don't like that situation, but Craig Bowl is a consistent bowl game winner, period. And he's catching points. And I don't like this Ohio offense, which got shut down by Toledo in the MAC championship game. So this definitely, and it should be a dead nuts under, but what's the total like I think it's going to be falling. If it falls any further, this total is going to be in the 30s. Yeah, 41.5. It's a very low total, but it's probably going to be hard pressed for either team to move the football.
It did drop to 40.5 between 8 and 10 this morning. By the way, the Taint play of the day is in from our Matty Ice. Taint play of the day is in, and it pops off in 6 minutes. Good timing.
Yes.
Taint is available here with NC State, and we just heard the possible issues for Maryland with some off-the-field activities that might keep Tagovailoa out. But, I mean, we're 6 minutes to play. We'd probably know that by now if he was out. Taint play today is in NC State Wolfpack. And Williams Wrestling saying two of Ontario's finest. I thought he was talking about the Rourke brothers because I had it covered. God, I love those two kids, man. They're a hell of a quarterback, and they're both hell of quarterbacks. It's too bad that the younger one's not available to play here, which changes so much. It changes so much to this game if you can't trust CJ Harris. Wow. I guess I still have interest in Wyoming. I guess I do. When Big Ragoo says Mountain West teams other than Boise and Fresno have been brutal, does that concern you at all? Or is it just the fact that at running back you're dealing with a fourth stringer now, and if you can't move the ball on the ground, we know this offense is bad to begin with? Is that the problem?
That's exactly it. That's exactly it. It's that your running back, Titus Swen, was so much of what you did offensively this year. If you're Wyoming, you're not going to have him. You have an Ohio team that comes into this game. From all indications, they are pretty good against the run defensively. That is concerning as well for Wyoming going into this game. I'm looking at the Ohio defense. Yeah, in terms of run defense, definitely better than pass defense. So they can negate what Wyoming's going to try to do in this game. But boy, I'll tell you what, if Peasley can just make some plays throwing the football, because I'll tell you what, their secondary, Ohio, is awful. It's really bad. You could throw on that team. Can we trust this guy? Maybe the bowl practices help. Craig Bowl is a good head coach. Maybe he works with Peasley to, and maybe because they're down all these running backs, they say, let's open it up and let's throw the ball more. Peasley's not really shown you he can do that efficiently or consistently this year, but he is going to get practice time, maybe work on it. You can't, because I think they're going to have to throw the football to move it against Ohio today.
And Ragoo says bank on Bowl. I still could do this. I still could bank on Bowl.
11-3 against the spread in bowl games. Of course, yeah. Doesn't a guy with the last name Bowl have to be good in bowl games?
No,
it just has to be.
I don't bet on horses due to their name either. So, no, I don't care if his last name was Clown. All right, let's move on to the final game on the board, the Orange Bowl. And we will be live right here on Pub Sports Radio for this one. Dabby Cab will be hosting our live bet stream of the Orange Bowl tonight. Number 6, Tennessee Volunteers, 10-2 prettiest horse. That's tough, man. It's tough when they have those huge hammers on them. Versus number 7, Clemson Tigers, 11-2, Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens, Florida for this one. Let's take a look at the line history here. Here we go. Clemson opening up at -4. They got up to -6, a move that I agree with. Now they're at -5, sort of no man's land between 4 and 6. So I don't know if it's that big of a deal, but the immediate move was the very first move when this dropped on the 5th was towards Tennessee. That was at a time when Tennessee looked, well, I mean, not a lot changed since the 5th. I shouldn't say that. But since then, this got up to 7. This was at 7 that day. So it moved to 3.5 when this line was dropped from 4, and then all the way up to 7 on the 5th. And it's come back a little bit to -5. From a total perspective, it opened up at 63.5, and it's now at 60. Let's take a look at the cash flow for Tennessee Clemson. They've given Tennessee about 60% line value here, 20,024 tickets in, 49% of the tickets, 45% of the cash on Clemson. Then you have 58% of tickets and 95% of cash on the under, and it's dropped 3.5 points down to 60. Wow. Big Ragoo says Clemson first half for the new look quarterback. Says, I'm not sure what he will. I'm guessing it's he will produce. Oh, who will produce? The new first half quarterback who will produce. All right. So let's talk about Tennessee first. Joe Milton replaced Hendon Hooker in that loss to South Carolina, then took care of the Tennessee's victory over Vandy. Tennessee was third nationally in passing offense. And, you know, Jalen Hyatt and Cedric Tillman have opted out. So there's no star receivers really to go to. You have Brew McCoy and Ramel Keaton and Squirrel White, if you're looking for good names. Squirrel White, those are receivers that will be available. Tennessee finished the season second in the SEC in rush defense, allowing 112 yards on the ground, 112 yards per game. They can't stop the ball through the air. They're 127th against the pass. Now it's Cade Klubnik's job. Now that
Uiagalelei, there you go.
Uiagalelei, thank you. Has fucked off. So he's now in the transfer portal.
Oregon State. He's going to be a Beaver. Chomp. That's a great get for Oregon State. Say what you will about how he struggled this year, but for a school like Oregon State to get someone that was recruited to Clemson, that's a good job by Jonathan Smith.
Yeah, he's been underwhelming, but no doubt.
You watch next year; he'll light it up in the Pac-12. I think he'll be good there.
But Klubnik is who we should be talking about. That was really good in the ACC championship game. 279 yards he threw. He ran for one. Will Shipley ran for 1,110 yards and 15 touchdowns. You have freshman Antonio Williams as the leading receiver. This is a strong team. And now the defense is a bit of a problem. Brian Brissy, Tyler Davis, KJ Henry are in. Miles Murphy won't play. But the front seven was supposed to be absolutely dominant. This defense was not nearly as good as we thought. Take it away for us here, Tennessee, Clemson.
Yeah, I'm debating either the full game over or the Clemson team total over. I don't want to lay, 4.5, 5. You're certainly not 6 with Clemson, but I feel their offense will have a big night. I do. And then it's a question of what are you going to get from, obviously, Joe Milton is the quarterback for Tennessee, not Hendon Hooker, of course, shut down for the season. So what are you going to get from them? And that's what I'm going back and forth with. I want to make something official from this game, one of those two. But I did bet both of them, the full game over and the Clemson team total over. But I don't want to make both official on one play only. I think it's probably, I'm just looking at where the team total is for Clemson here in this game. I believe it's below the key number of 35 in this one. Clemson team total. Yeah, it's over 34.5 plus 110 at Pinnacle. The team total for Clemson. Let's go with that. Let's make that official here. Clemson team total over 34.5 in this one. Cade Klubnik, this is a chance to showcase himself. And, he was good when he got in there for Clemson during the regular season. But at the same time, he made some mistakes too. And he wasn't always on this game. But I think now the bowl game, the practices, chance to gain some rapport and some chemistry with the receivers. I think that's going to help. And to be quite honest with you, from a Tennessee standpoint, we saw what happened to that defense in the last 2 games of the season. It absolutely collapsed down the stretch against South Carolina at the end of the season. And then even after that, there's been games that they just struggled, defensively. And I don't know if that's going to be all that much better or corrected or improved here in the bowl game. Here in this one, especially when you factor in that from an opt-out perspective here, Tennessee, and they, by the way, do have several here for this game that are opting out for the Volunteers, and especially Jeremy Banks, the great linebacker. They won't have Tillman or Hyatt at wide receiver. So, and again, the offensive coordinators moved to South Florida. We'll have to see. Milton, too, is a work in progress in terms of, his passing ability. He only had 147 passing yards. Now, they did beat Vanderbilt significantly, but it was more they were able to run the football against them. How will he fare here against the Clemson defense? We'll have to wait and see. That's the big unknown, is what Tennessee is going to do offensively in this game with Milton at quarterback against this Clemson defense. That's why I think there's a possibility they could have a good game, and Heupel's capable. Heupel's going to be calling the plays, by the way, with the OC moving to South Florida. So that's the main change, is that Heupel, the head coach, is actually going to call plays here. So I definitely like the full game over. I think the more I thought about it and talk it out here, I think the Clemson team total over is the stronger look, 34.5. I think they can get to 35 plus tonight.
That's at plus 110. I'm interested in backing Clemson. I agree with Ragu. I think this is a breakout spot, national spotlight spot for Klubnik. I don't know if I double up, but I'm certainly thinking of doubling up. Let's take a second here and slow down, because there's more to what we do here than just capping. It's, being there for each other. And Rodney Barton says, "What up, Jimmy Ian? Haven't been able to watch the show in a while due to my dad passing away. Your show helps me keep my mind off things, and I love you guys. 2023 will be a great year for pub sports." Thinking of you, Rodney. There's nothing that anyone can say to make that any easier. So it's just
condolences to the Barton family. Absolutely, that's all you can say.
Yep. Yeah. Well, all you can say is that there's a great. Everybody handles this stuff differently. And it's going to be tough, but your family is lucky that they have you there and your strong shoulders to carry everybody through these very, very difficult times. And you're going to have to, and they're lucky to have you. And we are lucky to have you capping with you day in and day out. So just sending love to you and your family, strength and love. And I get it. Come cap with us and, take a load off and hang and cap with us. So thinking about you, sending love and strength to your family, Rodney. And there, we've just found out straight up now.
He's not playing. It's Eric, the backup quarterback, that's in there right now.
Wow, that's huge news. Huge news. So those of you who jumped on NC State, wow, great work to do that. Let's see what it is live right now. Wow, they're not giving NC State too much love even with that line movement.
Well, I think it's Eric Edwards that's in at quarterback. He just made a big play. That's why the line changed. Yeah.
Wow. All right. So that's our college football breakdown. Thank you, Troy, and thank you guys. And but thinking of you, Rodney, and look at all the guys in the chat thinking of you as well. There's so much more to this than just capping the game. It's being here for each other. So I love seeing that, and it's dealing with that kind of a thing, a father dying, or family member that you care about. It's never going to get easier. Life just, and then it's nice to be somewhere where people care, because you open up your door and you're like, whoa, nobody else gives a shit, right? Everything, the most toughest thing can happen to you, and you look outside and everything's just, the world doesn't give a fuck, So it's nice to be somewhere where people do care, and we care about you, Rodney. So thinking of you, man. Let's review action here. We have the first official look for Bobano. Starts off at 2 p.m. in an hour and 53 minutes. It's UCLA first half, -4.5, -105. Then he's on South Carolina plus 4.5, -108. And I'm very interested in that. I'm extremely interested in that spot. And then I think I'm going to move on Wyoming. I'm going to spend a little bit more time, but I plan to move on Wyoming. And I guess at this point, when you're talking about whether, betting Wyoming with a total so low, it might be worth taking the 2.5 points at this point. If it was a regular game, maybe you take the money line. I have to look at it. But yes, Troy, concerned about my look on Wyoming. I'm going to need more time on it. And then Clemson, first half full game. I expect to be on my card. Bobano on Clemson. Team total over 34.5. By the way, that 34.5 is at plus 110 at Pinnacle. So it's a big plus money spot that Bobano grabbed. And Dan Lowe sending love all the way from the UK. And yes, to me, OG, there's going to be mayonnaise. Real mayonnaise, too. All right, let's move on to college basketball. Now, we got to be quick because we also have 4 NHL games, and we only have Bobano for 42 more minutes. So we've already talked about that first game, the North Carolina spot, North Carolina, Pittsburgh. We discussed the main key point there for me market-wise, and there was X's and O's that were very important to Bobano. But for me, 92% of cash in a big sample size on Pittsburgh, and yet the market moving towards North Carolina is enough for me not to want to back Pittsburgh, who are undefeated in conference. But let's move on. And Bobano stayed off that spot. 2 p.m. Eastern. Let's get to work here. This game pops off in an hour and 51 minutes. Let's move over here. Miami Hurricanes 12-1, 3-0 in conference at Notre Dame. Fighting Irish 8-5, 0-2 in conference. We're in South Bend for this one. We'll start with the line history here, and it's 11-3 North Carolina, by the way, 4 minutes into that spot. So let's take a look at this line history here. We have Notre Dame opening up as 2.5.
I'm cheering for North Carolina now. I don't want Pitt to cover. I've stayed off them.
Yeah, I hear you. Notre Dame opening. Well, I think the market. We're not. Let's not get too tied up into a game with 4 minutes in. But you see all that money on the squad, and the books are giving you a better number. I will never make a bet on that side with that situation. Notre Dame opening up at +2.5, now at +2. From a totals perspective, opened up at 144, which is right where it stands. Let's see if we can get some cash information here on this one. We have 4,309 tickets in, and it's all Hurricane cash coming in. Wow. 86% of tickets, 97% of the cash. And that's enough to move it a half point? Wow. I guess it's 67% of the tickets are on the under. We don't have a cash line on that. Okay, Miami comes in off its 8th straight win, 66-64 at home over Virginia 10 days ago on December 20th as 3.5-point dogs. Isaiah Wong went for 24. Both these teams played a slow pace. Miami 195th in the nation at 70.5 possessions a game. Notre Dame 351st at 65.4 possessions a game. So Miami coming in off a game 10 days ago. I wonder about this spot because Notre Dame snapped a 3-game losing streak on Tuesday. Sure, it's a 59-43 win at home over Jacksonville's 8-point favorites, but they're one of the few teams here who got a game in under the belt, get their legs back. I wonder if that helps them. And if it helps them, wouldn't it help them early? Take it away for us, Bobano. Hurricanes fighting Irish.
Yeah, this is Miami's playing great right now. Really, really good basketball. The Hurricanes as of late. I know it's a road game for them here at the Purcell Center here, taking on Notre Dame. But Miami, they've won 8 in a row, and covered a bunch of them. The big win against Virginia recently. They beat NC State, won and covered at home, crushed Louisville, beat Rutgers at home, beat UCF on the road. Been a very impressive team. And extra prep time, rest, all that. You know, they've been off for 10 days. Yeah, you could say maybe they're a little rusty early. Notre Dame got to play a couple days ago against Jacksonville. But they're playing really good basketball right now, this team. And I think short number here with Miami is road favorites. I like them. I'm going to make them an official play here in the college basketball. First college basketball play here, Miami as the short favorite here. I don't like what I'm seeing from Notre Dame offensively. They haven't scored very well the last several games. That's not good. Miami, I've been impressed both ends of the floor, what we've gotten from them. And I think a key here, too, is Notre Dame has been struggling to get stops at a consistent rate all season long. And you look at this game here, they're coming into this game, they're 303rd in the country, field goal percentage defense. That's not good when you've got those great guards that can flat out shoot, facilitate the offense on the Miami side. I like this a number here. Again, I wouldn't want to lay more than this, but again, we've got Miami who's playing the better basketball, better team right now in a near straight up win situation. So we'll go Miami here, -2.5.
Miami -2.5. Well, we can get you a 2 now. Why would all this money be coming on Miami in the market be giving you better lines on it? -2. Do you want -2 at -113?
Sure. Yeah, definitely. We'll go
-2 at -113. I'm going to trust this angle for my own action. I'm going to trust that it's a long time to be off for Miami here, and I like the fact that Notre Dame got a game under their belt. I'm going to take Notre Dame first half, and I'm not sure if I'm going to bother with the +1.5. I may go for a score on the +120 money line. I'll have to make that decision here. This game, I got to. Oh, we have our Cappers contest show at 2 p.m. Eastern anyway, so I'll have a second to move on it. All right, and Jeffrey Blue thanking whoever gave out his gift membership thanking him. And big shout out to Jimmy Gomez gifting a Pub Sports Radio membership. Andrew G grabbed it. Thank you for thinking of us, Jimmy Gomez, our guy. And some fun stuff going on right now. A big shout out to Ron Lofton on the way to Turf Paradise with a couple buddies. 2-hour ride with Cheech and Chong Smoke. Fill in the car. I love it. Ron, drive safe with the boys and get that cash today at Turf Paradise. I love it. All right, so Miami -2 full game for Bobano, and I'm going to be moving on Notre Dame first half. Let's move on to 2 p.m. Eastern. Again, we have Bobano for 36 more minutes. We have 8 more NCAA games, so we'll be brisk through them. Then we have 4 NHL games, and then Dutch Boy Fresh will be joining us for NBA. Navy Midshipmen opening up their Patriot League account, 7-5 on the year. Boston University Terriers, 7-6. Also their first game in the Patriot League. We're at Case Gym in Boston. Another spot where both teams are playing at a slow pace here. I wonder if that under in that. I'm going to put a question mark on the under in the Miami Notre Dame game, or even just the first half under. If we're worried, if I'm concerned, but no, I want the tired legs in the full game. I think I'm going to move on the full game under here in Miami Notre Dame. So it's going to be a double up spot for me. Back to Navy, Boston. Let's move over to the line history here for this one. Let's get it up here. We go. Again, this one pops off in an hour and 45 minutes. Patriot League action. Boston University opening up -1.5. They're now -2. From a total perspective, opened up at 132. There's been no movement there. We may or may not have any help cash flow-wise. We have no help cash flow-wise, so we don't need to worry about that. Navy had its modest 2-game winning streak snapped in a 74-52 loss at VCU as 9.5-point dogs 9 days ago on December 21st. Big shout out to Swiss Horton, back from Nunavut. Scooping out new locations for the chalet. You're a hard worker, Swiss. Boston University also had its 2-game winning streak snapped on December 21st in a 68-60 loss at UMass Lowell as 7.5-point dogs. So both teams coming off losses as dogs on the road. And they're opening up their Patriot League accounts here. Take it away for us, Bobano. Navy, Boston.
Yeah, this is. I like that Navy team a lot. I think they're well coached. DeChalis has done a nice job with that program. And look, they didn't have the greatest of starts this season by any stretch of the imagination, but now here they are, 7-5, only 2-5 on the road. Boston does have a pretty strong home court, 4-0 so far on the season at home. But you look at Navy. They played VCU. They lost 74-52, obviously a tough game there. They played West Virginia. They've had some challenging opponents. Not that Boston hasn't, but really Boston outside of Notre Dame, they have not really faced anyone of utmost quality. You look at the matchup here, great 3-point shooting team, Navy. Boston, kind of iffy defending it. Something that would concern me a little bit if I'm the BU Terriers in this game. Boston struggles to score a lot of the time. Not exactly an efficient offensive team. They were held to 67-60 in their last 2 games. When I look at this, the one thing about Navy is on the road, we've seen this team at times struggle. VCU, they had a real tough time scoring. You look at this matchup here, I think Navy's going to be a team we can make some money with in this conference. I don't know if today's the spot. I didn't bet the game, but keep an eye on Navy here. And I think they're going to be a team you'll be able to cash some tickets with moving forward. Again, helped out by the fact they got really tested quite a bit in the non-conference schedule. Boston does have a good home court. They're only laying 2, so for that reason, I'm probably going to end up passing the game.
We have a pass from Bobano. I have interest in this under 132.
I would lean that way, honestly, from the total standpoint. Yep. Yeah,
the only thing that kind of has me, we looked at the Notre Dame total. Notre Dame, I know they can be more efficient than a couple of Patriot teams, but their pace is 65.4 possessions. There's only a handful of teams that are slower than them, and that was at 144. Due partially to the Hurricanes' efficiency offensively and on the perimeter, but it's a pretty low total, and it hasn't moved. But I have interest in it. That's not going to be I am going to move on the Notre Dame Miami under, but I have just interest. Let's move on. We've talked about these 2 squads, football teams. Let's talk about their basketball teams now. We move on to NC State Wolfpack, 11-3, 1-2 though in conference. At the Clemson Tigers, 10-3, undefeated 2-0 in conference play in the ACC. We're at Little John Coliseum in Clemson, South Carolina. We'll start with the line history. Clemson opening up -1.5. They're now -2. From a total perspective, opened up at 149.5 and has dropped to 147. Take a look at the cash flow for this one. We have 2,484 tickets in. We know 69% of the tickets are on Clemson, but we don't know anything other than that. Don't know where the cash is. 50-50 on the total for tickets, and we don't know the cash flow. NC State, 82nd in the nation, playing at 73.2 possessions game. Clemson, 214th, playing at 70.1. And this total high at 147. If you think that Clemson can dictate the pace, NC State comes in off its third straight win 8 days ago on December 22nd, 76-64 win at home over Louisville as 18-point favorites. Clemson comes in off its second straight win, 79-66 as 2-point favorites at Georgia Tech 9 days ago. Shout out to you, Brian Watson. Thank you for the kind words, my man. Take it away for us. NC State, Clemson, Bobano.
Yeah, I mean, this is an interesting matchup here. Clemson, another strong home court, 7-0, and they're only laying 1.5 at home. I kind of feel like they're probably the right side. NC State's, they've won 3 in a row, but Louisville, Vanderbilt, Furman, they had obviously matchup advantages over in that game. On the road, they lost at Miami 80-73. It feels like this is Clemson's spot here. They've been great on the home floor. NC State defensively, it's always been the issue with them at times is that sometimes they just don't guard very well. And the one thing about Clemson is, too, they've been very solid offensively this year, 75.8 points per game, 47.6, very efficient field goal percentage shooting team this season, which has been pretty good to see. I think that's going to be the key point in this game. Very good free throw shooting team as well, 77% for Clemson from the free throw line entering this game. So they've been very good in that regard. I think I will make them official, actually, Jimmy. -130. Let's do that. Clemson money line, -130.
Clemson -130. Bobano off to a great start a little more than a start, but a great first couple months of the season here on our show in college basketball. We'll have the records up when Jose returns. I'm interested in the under. I know that Clemson unders are no longer 120s and 125s, but at 147, I agree with the move to the under, and I think Clemson will dictate the pace in this. And you spoke of their efficiency, but they're still playing at a slower pace.
Slower pace and very good defense. Yep, definitely.
I believe I will be moving on the under in this one. And you'll notice there's a lot of unders on my card. I am testing out the idea that the 9-day break won't be great for teams, but we'll test it out. 4 p.m. Eastern is next up. There's Jeff Slaughter in the house. Great to see you, Jeff. Our leader right there in the chat. We move on to Siena Saint, 7-5, 1-0 in conference. At the Quinnipiac Bobcats, 9-4, 0-2 in the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference. M&T Bank Arena, Hamden, Connecticut. Let's take a look at the line history here for Siena Quinnipiac. We have Siena opening up as 4-point dogs. That's exactly where they are right now. That's moved 6 cents in juice. And this total's gone from 141 to 139. Siena playing at a pace 69.5 possessions game. That's 235th. Quinnipiac, 71.3, 157th. Siena comes in off its second straight win, 64-61 at American 8 days ago on December 22nd as 3-point dogs. Quinnipiac was last in action also 8 days ago in a 77-68 loss at Penn State as 14-point dogs. They look pretty good in that game. Take it away for us here, Bobano, Siena, Quinnipiac.
I like Siena here, +4. It's actually an official plan. Very good in this conference. It's an underdog-heavy conference, no question about that. And I like this Siena team quite a bit. Now, there is a key concern here from an injury standpoint for them, and that's Javian McCollum. He's one of their leading scorers, very important to this team. Questionable with an ankle injury. He had missed the last game, and he's questionable for this one. Obviously, they're going to be in better shape if he plays. He didn't play against American University, but they still won 64-61. Outright as 3.5-point underdogs in that game. So they showed that they could play and win games without him. They've also been very good head-to-head against Quinnipiac. Recently, 4 of the last 5 they've covered, 4-1 straight up, 4-1 against the spread against Quinnipiac. In fact, they've gone to Quinnipiac 2 years in a row, and they've beaten Quinnipiac. So obviously the home court edge is diminished, especially in this conference. This has been consistently, I find, a very good road underdog conference. And in this case, you're getting a Siena team that, in my opinion, is on par with Quinnipiac. Wouldn't even shock me if Siena ends up being a little bit better than Quinnipiac in conference season. They'd had a boatload of tougher games on their resume in the non-conference, especially the likes of Ole Miss, Florida State, Seton Hall. They got Georgetown's not great, but still they got tested pretty nicely in non-conference play. I'd say a little bit more so than Quinnipiac. So I like plus the 4 here with Siena.
49% of the tickets, 77% of the cash on Siena. So it looks like the big bets and sharp action is on Siena. We see the line moving towards Siena. We can get you the plus 4 at minus 105 at 5 dimes. Pinnacle's moved it to minus 114. So I suspect that we'll see 3.5s on the board. This did open up at 5 at some offshores. So Bobano is locked in. Siena plus 4, minus 105. Move on to 6 p.m. Eastern. The Buffalo Bulls, 6-6, 0-2 on the road at Michigan State. Spartans, 8-4, 4-1 home. We're at the Breslin Center in East Lansing. Buffalo playing at a very fast pace, 6th in the entire country, 78 possessions a game. Michigan almost 10 possessions slower, down to 68.9 possessions a game. Take a look at the line history here. We have Michigan State opening up at minus 16 at Pinnacle. They're now minus 15.5. From a totals perspective, opened up at 144.5 and is shot all the way up to 149. It got up to 150. And this has all happened today. It's all happened today. Wow, a huge move towards this over. Let's take a look at the cash flow here for this one. Just for no help with the cash flow. We don't have a cash amount on the spread. We do know the 50-50 on the tickets, 69% of tickets on the over. We don't have a cash amount there, but we know the books are very concerned with that move. So let's talk about Buffalo first. After losing badly at home to Tulane and at West Virginia, they snapped their 2-game losing streak with a 129-62 win over Div 3 Sunny Canton Kangaroos. That's who they had to play to win 9 days ago on December 21st. Michigan State comes in off its third straight win, 67-54 at home versus Oakland 9 days ago on December 21st as 21.5-point favorites. They played sloppy. They turned the ball over 16 times and did not cover. Take it away for us here, Bobano. Bulls, Spartans.
Yeah, this one's a fascinating non-conference matchup. Look, Buffalo's been a team that's been one of the better teams in the mid-majors for the last few years. You can't rule them out being able to compete. I like them here, plus the points against Michigan State. Michigan State has bigger favorites. I don't trust them. I really don't. I mean, they did cover against Brown, but last game against Oakland, they were 21-point home favorites. They only won by 13. They lost outright at home against Northwestern. They beat Portland as 6.5-point favorites. They've had issues. 6.5-point favorites against Nova. They only won by 2. They've been bad laying points. And, Buffalo is obviously a team that I don't know if they're necessarily quite as good as they've been in years past. This Bulls team. They were at West Virginia last game. They got ripped apart defensively. That is a concern for Buffalo. They've had some rough showings at times on the defensive end of the basketball court. The numbers bear that out. They've definitely had their share of struggles at times defensively, and that could be concerning. They can score, though, and that's always been something they've been able to do. In fact, I think in this game, Jimmy, I'm going to double up here. I'm going to go with Buffalo plus the points, and I'm also going to go over the total. I think you're going to see a good amount of points in this game from both teams.
All right. You got the 15.5 at minus 105. Let's see what this total is offering you here. We have,
I think 148.5 is the best we can do right now.
Oh, wow. Where'd you get that?
Let me just verify that. Looks like it anyway. Oh, no. You know what? We can do even better. Bet Victor, 147.5 minus 118. There you go. Let's lock that in.
You are locked in over 147.5 at minus 118. All right, let's move on to Lehigh Mountain Hawks. We go back to the Patriot League. Mountain Hawks 5-6 opening up their account against the Army Black Knights 6-7 on the year. We head to West Point for this. Lehigh playing at a pretty fast pace, 67th in pace in the nation, 73.6 possessions a game, while Army 181st, 70.8 possessions a game. Take a look at the line history here for this one. Lehigh Army. Move over here. get this in. There we go. We have the Mountain Hawks opening up minus 108. They're now minus 103 at +6. So 5-cent move towards Army at this number. From a total perspective, open up at 145. We're now at 146. Lehigh has lost 4 straight to Division I competition. They come in off a 96-64 loss 10 days ago on December 20th at Cornell as 12-point dogs in that game. Cornell turned the ball over 3 times. Just 3 times, Cornell. Big Red. Army's also last played 10 days ago on December 20th. They snapped their 2-game losing streak, 66-55 win at Coastal Carolina as 1.5-point favorites. Take it away here for us, Lehigh Mountain Army.
Army in the over. We're going to lay the points with Army. They've destroyed Lehigh 2 straight times. They've hosted Lehigh in recent meetings, and I think you're going to see points in this game. Army doesn't mind pushing the basketball up and down the floor. Now, they've not been the over machine they've been in the past. In fact, 3 of the last 4 games have gone under, but you had some really sketchy offensive teams that you played in a lot of those games. Lehigh can score the basketball, and I think they're going to have some success being able to do that here in this game tonight. They're averaging 71 points per game. They do shoot the 3 well as well, Lehigh. And when you look at Army, they should be able to do whatever they want offensively against Lehigh. Lehigh is not a very good defensive team. They're a pretty good shooting team, efficient, 47% as a team. Field goal percentage, 70th in the country. And again, the series history shows that actually Lehigh beat them 2 in a row last year, but both of those were in Lehigh's home court. Army, when they've been the home team, they have rolled past Lehigh. So I'm going to lay the 6 with Army, and we'll go over 146.
And now Army was playing Central Connecticut. I don't know why I said Coastal Carolina. The last game was against Central Connecticut.
Actually, you know what? We got minus 5.5, minus 120 at ProLine Plus with Army. We'll go with that. And actually, there's 145.5, minus 115 at BetMGM with that over. So we'll use those 2 numbers.
All right, Bobano, you are locked in. Let's grab that here. Bobano, you are locked in. And here as well. Okay, you are in business. Double ups in the last 2 spots. John Conley, welcome. Ron Walsek, great to see you. And what's that? Yes, line shopping pays, says Dan Kelly. It's I made a terrible blunder with line shopping on the Thursday nighter. I bet it on Tuesday night at like 1 a.m, and I thought the total was going to keep moving towards the over. So I got a 40.5 in that game, and it, what should have been a push. I know some people got in at 39.5 and got the win, and instead I lose $200. So very, very, very crucial, Dan Kelly. All right, let's move on. 7 p.m. Eastern, North Alabama Lions. We head to the ASUN for this. 8-5 on the season, opening up their ASUN account at Jacksonville State Gamecocks. Pete Matthews Coliseum in Jacksonville, Alabama. Northern Alabama 81st in pace, 73.2 possessions a game. Jacksonville State 212th at 70.1 possessions a game. Take a look at the line history here for this one. And we need to move quickly here. I will try to help that happen. We have only Bobano for 18 more minutes. Jacksonville State opened up minus 6.5, minus 108. They're now minus 6.5, minus 113. 5-cent move towards them. And a 5-cent move towards the over at 140. See if the cash can help us at all for this one. And all we know is 67% of the tickets are on North Alabama. And the juice has moved, 5 cents towards Jacksonville State. So that's a little confusing. And we all remember the big win at Ole Miss 10 days ago. 66-65 is 22.5-point dogs. And North Alabama had to return the following night at home against an NAIA team, William Baptist. And they showed out there too, 83-45. Jacksonville got their post-Christmas action started with a very underwhelming 78-73 win at home over Div 2 Georgia Southwestern Hurricanes on Tuesday. Extremely ugly. Take it away here for us, Bobano, North Alabama, Jacksonville State.
This one's kind of tricky. I mean, I don't want to go against North Alabama. They're clearly been undervalued. That was an impressive win at Ole Miss, 66-65, 23-point dogs. And then, of course, they didn't have any letdown or hangover. You see them here getting a pretty healthy number, 6.5 again. I think you've got to consider taking the points here, but I also worry about, them, the bubble bursting, them coming back down to earth a bit. And Jacksonville State does play well at home. And I like that coach, Ray Harper. It's not one of his better teams, but I felt best to pass.
Yeah, I can imagine that Jacksonville State comes out very strong here after that debacle against the Div to Georgia Southwestern. But in saying that, it's, North Alabama was playing so well, and they get all these days off, and the tickets are on them, but the juice moving toward Jacksonville State. I can understand the stay away. Let's move on. 7 p.m. Eastern, Southeast Louisiana Lions 7-5, 1-5 on the road at Vanderbilt. Commodores 6-6, 4-3 at home. We're in Nashville, Tennessee. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one over here and get this up here. Southeast Louisiana. Here we go. This opened up with the Commodores as 15.5-point favorites, and that's at even money right now. So probably 15s at most books. Still opened up at 145. There's been a big 11-cent move to the under. Let's move over to the cash here and see if it helps us at all. In Southeast Louisiana, Vanderbilt. It does a little. There's less than 1,000 tickets in, but 33% of tickets, 45% of cash on Vandy. You get the market moving in the opposite direction. Billy Friedrich talking about UFC contest scam going on with someone I don't know, and I hate that.
No. What's he trying to be, like a Logan Paul with a fucking crypto scam?
I hate hearing that, Billy. I'm sorry that you got screwed there. I hate seeing that.
Lots of scammers going around. Yep, not good.
Yeah, it's every day. I got this one today. This message. Hey, so sorry I won't be able to make it today. I'll send the cash. Okay. Every single possible scam. It's non-stop scams all day long. Awesome. Okay, Southeast Louisiana snapped its 2-game losing streak 9 days ago on December 21st. 80-62 home win over Southern. They were 1-point dogs in that game. Vanderbilt snapped its 2-game losing streak with an underwhelming 70-62 home win over Alabama A&M on December 22nd as 18-point favorites. That's the kind of team Vanderbilt has to play to win. Does Southeast Louisiana have value here? Bobano, take it away.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be the big question here. They might in this one. When you look at Vanderbilt, it's not like they've been immune to flat spots. They lost to Grambling. We were on that spot with Grambling against Vanderbilt a few Fridays ago. December the 9th. They were 14-point favorites. They lost outright. AAMU 70-62, 18.5-point favorites against Alabama A&M last game at home. I mean, they have not been good in these down spots, these flat spots at home, playing against a weaker SWAC, MEAC type of opponent. Just not been very good. And you look at Southeast Louisiana, Xavier rolled them, but I don't think Vanderbilt's capable offensively like Xavier is. In other games, we saw them recently at Dayton, 18-point dogs, lose by 6. 7-point dogs against Troy, lose by 6. Last game, there were 2-point slight underdogs against Southern, who happened to be one of the better teams, in that conference, in their conference. And Southeast Louisiana beats them up 80-62. I think the points are worth a look here, honestly, with this game. So over plus the points here with SC Sela in this one.
I agree. I think this is the look. I think this is the look. I'm happy that at least the market's moving a little bit in their direction. I'm just curious to see what BetOnline's done with this spread. They've dropped the total a 1.5. They haven't moved it. Oh, they moved it to 15.5. The first move was towards Sela at 14.5. I wonder if this is just too good to be true sort of a thing. As we watched, especially that big win 9 days ago, and we know how bad Vanderbilt is. And we're going to be on Wyoming. I'm going to be with them too. I love the breakdown that you and Bobano gave on that. I'm not going to move right away on it. I'm getting cold feet. But let's line shop here for Bobano. I mean, it's clearly the play. But those times I get a little nervous when something is just clearly the play. By the way, Pittsburgh's come all the way back. It's 30-28 North Carolina for the nooner there. Here we can get you. Where is it here? Sorry, Southeast Louisiana. Here we go. Plus 15.5, minus 110.
Yep, that's what I thought. Yep, that's fine. Yep.
Plus 15.5, minus 110. Okay, let's roll on. 2 games left, then we go into a quick NHL card. Let's be real brief here for these games. 10 p.m. and they're bigger ones, and I apologize. 10 p.m. Eastern, USC Trojans 10-3, 2-0 in the Pac-12. At the Washington Huskies, 9-4, 1-1 in the Pac-12. We're at Alaska Airlines Arena in Seattle, Washington. Both teams playing at a similar pace, 71 possessions a game. Take a look at the line history here for this one. We're closing on the big games in the Pac-12. So we have the USC game against Washington and, of course, the UCLA game against Washington State. So we start here in Washington. Washington opening up as 1-point dogs. They're now 2-point dogs. This total opened up at 141.5 and has dropped all the way to 138. Take a look at the cash flow on this one. 2,331 tickets in. 15% of the tickets, 38% of the cash on Washington, but now it's moved to +2. 95% of tickets on the over, but it's dropped 2.5 points. So confusing market analysis there. USC extended their winning streak to 6 games with a 73-64 win over Colorado State as 3-point favorites 9 days ago on December 21st at the Jerry Colangelo Classic in Phoenix. Washington went in to their Christmas break off a very disappointing 84-61 home loss to Auburn on December 21st as 4.5-point dogs. I wonder if this generally would be the bounce back spot I would love to back them on, but the market making me a little nervous. Take it away for us here, Bobano. USC, Washington.
Yeah, this is definitely a pass for me. It's a game I'd rather sit back and watch. USC, I feel USC is a better team than Washington. And of course, we saw Washington lose to Auburn 84-61, get crushed by Gonzaga. I definitely lean USC, but you are going on the road here, Pac-12 road game. They did beat Washington twice last year in the 2 head-to-head meetings. I think the Trojan length is going to be something that bothers Washington. The key for USC is the one concern here is when Washington or any team for that matter plays zone. You got to be able to make threes, and it's not a great perimeter shooting team. USC. That being said, I think they're more talented than Washington. Lean USC for sure, but I think I'm going to pump the brakes.
Yeah, I don't like Washington sitting there for 9 days after getting embarrassed by Auburn at home. Got to feel like this is a bounce back spot for them, but the market going to keep me off this as well. Let's go to the final game here of our college basketball breakdown with Bobano. Number 11 ranked UCLA Bruins, 11-2, 2-0 in the Pac-12. At Washington State Cougars, 5-8, 0-2 in the Pac-12. We're at Beasley Coliseum in Pullman. And Washington playing very slow, 66.8 possessions a game, 332nd in the nation. UCLA 152nd, playing 71.4 possessions a game. Let's go into the line history here for this one, and then we will move into 4 games of NHL and then a full NBA breakdown with Dutch Boy Fresh. We have Washington State opening up +8.5. There's been no movement there. From a total perspective, open up at 133.5, now 134.5. Curious to see where the cash is on this one. We have 40% of the tickets and 51% of the cash on Washington State. 50-50 with the tickets, 87% of cash on the under. I wonder if this is a spot, UCLA not playing for 9 days, coming in against a lowly Washington State. I wonder if this is a bad spot for UCLA. Washington, so UCLA comes off 8 straight win. Washington coming off that 2nd straight loss to Utah State. That was on Christmas Day when they lost there. And Utah State shot 60.4% from the field and 64.7% from 3. Obviously, part of that is Washington State's bad perimeter defense, but I feel like this could be a look-ahead spot for UCLA. Robert Franklin, though, UCLA -8, the much better team. With the big break at Christmas time and the way we cap sports, this isn't, the much better team needs to cover the spread, and not just win the game outright. And I wonder if this is a look-ahead spot. Talk to me about your thoughts here, Bobano, UCLA, Washington State.
Ain't taking Washington State, that's for sure. I don't trust them. They're not playing great. They've been waxed by UCLA both meetings last year. UCLA is just, I don't want to step in front of them right now. This does feel like a bit of I don't want to say flat spot for UCLA, but, you've played a lot of big games. You had the win against Kentucky. You went to Maryland. You destroyed the Terrapins. You have a win against Oregon. This feels like maybe you don't bring it fully here for this one, but it's a Pac-12 conference game. Like I said, they beat Washington State by double digits in both meetings last year. They're rolling. They've won 8 in a row. Everyone's playing well. Tiger Campbell, Jaime Jaquez, the new kids have stepped up. They've played extremely well. Riley playing good defense right now, excellent defense. And for a Washington State team that struggles at times to put the ball in the hoop, that's concerning for me. Trying to score against this UCLA. I'd lean under and I'd lean UCLA, but I'm going to pass.
Yeah, I'm going to move on Washington State here. I think this is just the perfect spot for them to not come in as focused, playing so well. And I'm certainly not going to double up. It's interesting that usually in a spot like this, Bobano, when you have an 8.5-point favorite, we would see UCLA as 5-point favorites in the first half, or it's 4.5 here. Robert Francis said UCLA coach will have them ready. I can see a slow start in the first half, but I see UCLA running away. I feel you, Robert. And I lean towards the first half. I'd probably move on the first half. We're over the full game. I'm definitely going to move on the Cougars. Especially against when Utah State, you sit there, the coach hammers in on you for 9 days or since Christmas. So at least they haven't had the long layoff about, how bad your perimeter defense was. And I'm interested. Okay, let's review all NCAA action before we get into the 4-game NHL card. We got to be very quick. Bobana's on Miami -2 at -113. I'm on the other side, Notre Dame first half. And I'm not sure if I'm going to move on the full game under again. We have an hour and 16 minutes till that pops off. I'm interested in the under in Navy Boston. I'm interested in the under in NC State Clemson. Bobana's on Clemson money line -130. He's on Siena +4 -105. He's doubling up Buffalo +15.5 and the over 147.5. He's on Army -5.5 and the over 145.5. We stayed off North Alabama, Jacksonville State. He's on SELA, Southeast Louisiana Lions +15.5 and -110. We stayed off USC, Washington, and I'm going to be moving on Washington State. I believe first half. Okay, we're going to break into a 4-game NHL card here. Bobano will be right back with us, and then we will move on to our guy, Dutch Boy Fresh and NBA. So we start at 5 p.m. Eastern, early start here for the Nashville Predators, 14-14-5, 6-8-2 on the road at the Anaheim Ducks, 10-22-4, 6-8-1 at home. In the Honda Center, Anaheim, California, we have UC Saros against John Gibson. And Gibson has been, and I keep saying this all year, and he did it again last game, showing us signs that he can still be a spectacular goaltender. Saros, 11-10-5, 2.82 goals against average, 914 save percentage. Gibson, numbers don't jump out at you, 6-14-3, 3.88 goals against average, 900 save percentage. But he was absolutely spectacular in the Wednesday night shootout victory over Vegas, snapping the Ducks' 3-game losing streak. The Ducks, both teams have very poor power plays, and I'm not really sure why. Talent-wise, especially with Yossi on the point for Nashville, you think they'd be better. In penalty killing, Nashville a little better than how bad Anaheim is. 78% for Nashville, 70.6 for Anaheim. Nashville comes off its second straight loss, 3-2 at home versus Dallas on Tuesday. Duchesne's away from the team due to personal reasons. I don't know when he's coming back, and I don't know what the story is there. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one, and we won't bother with the cash, just the line history. We have Nashville opening up at Pinnacle as -150 favorites. They're now -164. This total opened up at 6, juiced to the over. It still sort of is, slightly juiced to the over. Take it away for us, Bobano, Predators, Ducks.
Yeah, this pass for me. I mean, I'm not going to waste too much time talking about. I've just got no interest in either side. Last time I trusted Anaheim after a big win, they totally laid an egg against San Jose when they beat Carolina at home. I've been seeing this too much with this team. They get you all excited about one great win. John Gibson gets you excited that he bounced back, had one of his best games of the season against Vegas, and then it's nothing like that the next game. It's happened too much with Anaheim, but I'm not laying this price with Nashville on the road, who've only won 2 games in their last 10, so it's an easy pass.
Mike M says Ducks in a 1-23 spot, fade city. Johnny K says Yossi's been good. He's been much better, but still – he's not being as spectacular as he was last year. And look at the power play. And the power play is the first sign that he hasn't been really the same guy, but he's been much better of late. Let's move on. 7 p.m. Eastern. We have our guy, Justin McElvey, liking the Pittsburgh Penguins here. And I see why he would. They come in off their third straight loss, 5-4 at home in overtime to Detroit on Wednesday. In the game, saw them take a 4-0 first period lead. Chris Letang dealing with a lower body injury. Devils 22-11-2, 12-2-1 on the road. They've been so good on the road. Penguins 19-10-6, 10-3-4 at home. Yari 2.77 goals against average, 918 save percentage. Vanacek 2.39, 910 save percentage. Pittsburgh power play 24.4, humming, absolutely humming. Lucas Ryan, yeah, we're waiting. You're talking about Patrick Kane, I imagine. We're waiting to see who he goes to at the trade deadline. There's a lot of suitors. The Rangers are the biggest, the team that we think is the most likely to get them, but there's a lot of teams in the hunt, and I wouldn't put it past the Carolina Hurricanes. When Kane looks at they won 9 straight games. When Kane takes a look at their win-loss record, first place in the Friday, we've seen them make moves at the trade deadline and bring in studs before. Mark Recchi, remember when he was brought in at trade deadline back in the day? So I don't put him out, but the Islanders are very high up on that list. The top 5 teams are the Rangers, Islanders, Penguins. They're mostly teams from the East, but I wouldn't put it past the Edmonton Oilers. Even though they're not being talked about, we know that with Kane being out, they'll need to do a couple more things LITR wise. But yeah, he's going somewhere at the trade deadline, and we're all drooling with anticipation to see who he goes to, because he's on pace for 12 goals this year, but we know who he really is. So take it away here for us. Let me just give you a quick line history here for the Pens game, and we have these Penguins opening up here at minus 127. They're down to minus 109 at Pinnacle. There's been a 13-cent move towards the Devils in the last hour and a half. Take it away, Bomano.
This is a tough one because I feel like I want to take Pittsburgh because of buy low spot, 2 horrendous losses. 1, they didn't show up against the Islanders, and 2, they had a 4-0 lead against Detroit and they shit the bed. Detroit comes back and wins 5-4. Jake Wallman with the gritty Sally that went viral after the game with that overtime winner. But they're banged up. They've got 3 starting defensemen out, and now Letang's ruled out for the game tonight. They're already without Petrie and Ruido. So that hurts when you've got a shorthanded blue line. That's going to put more duress and more minutes and more responsibility on Marcus Petersen, Brian Dumoulin, Jan Ruda. All those guys got to step up. Looks like Mark Friedman, Pierre-Olivier Joseph, they're going to have to play more. Ty Smith is probably maybe going to get a look as well. They've elevated him from the AHL. This is a guy that's had tremendous potential, but his development has been, I guess, slow a little bit. That being said, Sullivan was pretty upset with both losses for different reasons. And it's not like New Jersey is playing great hockey coming into this game. They've cooled off significantly, 1-8 in their last 9 games. I definitely lean Pittsburgh here. I just don't know if I want to trust this team fully. I mean, that's a horrible way to blow that game against Detroit the other night, but I'd certainly lean Pittsburgh.
I think I agree with you. I think that I was planning on making Pittsburgh a bet, but now I'm thinking of flipping. We saw the defensive issues occur in the Detroit game.
Yep.
I don't know why they'll stop. And then all of a sudden, you have this Devils team who's come off 2 straight losses to the big bad Boston Bruins.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of flipping. I'm thinking that the Devils bounce back here and continue. I rarely do the flip, but I'm starting to think the flip is in play. I see why you're staying off of Pittsburgh, and it was my plan to move on Pittsburgh. And now I'm seeing this market move towards the Devils. And you talk about stiff competition. I mean, Devils just played the best team in the league back-to-back and lost twice, and they're pissed off. Bet that with Jay looking at the under 6.5. I know that Pittsburgh can score. It's not their defense, with Letang in or out like that provides the offense for the Penguins. It's their studs on the offense. So I'm not that concerned. I don't know. I'm switching. I'm flipping. I'm moving over to the Devils. Okay, we got 2 games left. Let's be quick. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Florida Panthers 16-4, 7-11-1 on the road at the Hurricanes. 23-6 and 6, 11-3-1 at home. They're flying. PNC Arena rally. I have Spencer Knight versus Pyotr Kochetkov. I'm not sure if it is Spencer Knight, but he's 8-5-3, 2.93 goals against average, 909 save percentage. He has every opportunity to take the number 1 spot, and he's not doing that yet. 10-1-4 is Kochetkov, 1.94 goals against average, 928 save percentage, 3 shutouts. Florida 20% power play, 76.8% penalty killing. And Mike M says fade. The Devils are still a fade till after New Year's. Too much money, young dudes, hot chicks, and cocktails. Everyone won since I tossed the theory in play. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. They've been slapped in the face. They've got their wake-up call. So I think, Mike M., you were ahead of the curve then. I don't know if you are now, but I'm not saying you aren't. Okay, but we'll go back to the spot. Panthers on the second half of back-to-back after defeating the Habs 7-2 at home last night. Barkov was a monster. Hurricanes extend their winning streak to 9 games and 3-0 win at home over Chicago on Tuesday. They've allowed 17 goals over the 9-game streak. 3 games they have had shutouts. They're just playing good hockey. Carolina opening up at minus 185. They're now minus 168, so a legit move towards the Panthers. From a total perspective, it opened up at 6.5. It's now at 6. Take it away for us. Bobano shockingly shocked that a Hurricanes game would open at 6.5. Take it away for us.
Yeah, this is look, Florida. I liked Florida last night in the first period puck line I took against Montreal. They're saying all the right things that this team was going to come back. They said the playoffs start now for us, and they played like it last night against Montreal. They got off to a great start. First period hat trick for Alex Barkov, and look at the difference he makes. Obviously back from injury. And they buried a Montreal team that, let's be honest, though, they've got a AHL caliber defense right now. They just do. I mean, other than Joel Edmondson, everybody else is young and inexperienced for Montreal on the blue line right now. This is going to be a much tougher challenge for Florida. Back-to-back situation for them after beating Montreal last night. And Carolina's rolling in this game, 9 straight wins. Florida's actually beaten Carolina in 5 straight. Florida's, oddly enough, had their way against the Carolina Hurricanes going into tonight's matchup between the two teams. But, you look at the way Carolina's defending right now. It's been excellent. Other than the Philly game where they kind of had a bad third period, they've been excellent defensively going into this game. Florida's been mediocre on the road. For me, I'm going to make this might actually be my own. Actually, this won't be my only official play, but this will be my first official play for the NHL. I'm going to go Carolina in regulation here in this one. I was on Florida. I loved the spot for them last night. Eager to get on a roll. Maybe they do get on a roll and they beat Carolina, and they've done well head-to-head against Carolina, but this is a different animal altogether compared to Montreal last night. So Carolina minus 115 in regulation.
You got it locked in. The final game for us here with Bobano before we get on to NBA. Edmonton Oilers 19-15-2, 10-6-1 on the road. Seattle Kraken 18-11-4, 9-7-2 at home. I have Stuart Skinner versus Philip Grubauer. I'm not sure if it will be Grubauer in net. Edmonton power play at 32.3%, smoking hot, 72.5% penalty killing though. Seattle power play 21% and 69.2% penalty killing. What a bet by our Dennis Garcia on the Kraken to not make the playoffs at plus 265. I mean, that's just sunk. Bet you it's a pick 'em now. The Oilers coming off their second win in 3 games, 2-1 at Calgary on Tuesday. Kraken coming off their second straight loss, 3-2 at home to the Flames on Wednesday night. Let's just take a quick look at the line history here. We have this opening up with the Oilers at minus 106. They're still there. It's still minus 104, basically pick 'em. And this total opening up at 6.5 hasn't moved either. Take it away for us. Last game on the board here, Oilers, Kraken.
Yeah, I think the big news here for Edmonton is when you look at it, obviously, they are coming off, the 2-1 win against Calgary, where Stuart Skinner was absolutely immense for the Oilers in that game. He was absolutely spectacular, and he's the reason why they were able to win that game. We'll see how they fare here tonight against the Seattle Kraken, who Seattle suddenly back down to earth a little bit, right? 2-4 in their last 6 games. They lost back-to-back to Vancouver and Calgary, including the Calgary game, first game after the break. We'll see if they have it in them to bounce back here in this game. I don't know if they will here, though. I really don't. I'm starting to see signs that maybe, just maybe, this Seattle team coming back down to earth a little bit. I think Edmonton is getting priced pretty cheaply here in this game. So I'm going to go with them here at minus 104. Looks like that's the best price, and I like the over as well. In this game. Here's a crazy stat. Looks like the best price with Edmonton is, minus 104 at Pinnacle. So we'll go with that. And also I like over 6.5 minus 109 at Pinnacle. Looks to be the best price with that. Here is a crazy stat as far as the over is concerned tonight. In games after an under, that's in the following game after an Edmonton Oilers game goes under the total this season, the over is 9-1 in the next game. 9-1 to the over. 10 Edmonton games where they are off an under in their previous game. So what does that tell you when they're in a low score? And obviously that's what we saw with the Calgary game. They get back to, hey, let's get our offense going. Maybe a little bit looser defensively, not quite as much onus put on that part of their game, and we see a higher scoring game the next time out. But that's an incredible trend, and that's in play with this Oilers-Kraken game tonight.
Wow. Yeah, Lance Rose liking that overlook. Oilers minus 104 and over 6.5 at minus 109. Chip Lawler says, how do you not play Oilers over? I'll have to take a longer look at that. Bobano doubling up on the Oilers game. He's also on Hurricanes regulation. I will be on the Devils, and I'm not sure exactly what to do. And I don't know if I did but I have Stuart Skinner and Grubauer's numbers the same. Obviously, Skinner's had a good year. So I apologize if I read that up. Skinner 11-9-1, 2.82 goals against average, 916 save percentage. Bobano, you got to run, my man. Thank you. I will review your action with the low baggers in the chat after we finish NBA. But great work today, and can't wait to have you on NFL Pub Hub, where you've been dominant. Just a little while longer till you are this year's champ after last year's Ragu. But thank you for joining us. Follow Bobano on Twitter at Bobano, and thank you for sharing your hard work and insights with us, my guy.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Appreciate it, Jimmy. Good luck to everyone in the chat. To you, have a great weekend. I'm back, by the way, 4 p.m., 5 p.m. later today. NBA Pub Up, college basketball, net profit, back-to-back. Dutch coming up for his NBA looks in just a second here on this show. So everybody have a good weekend, and we'll see you Sunday for the Pub Hub NFL.
There he is, Bobano in the house. We move on to NBA Fresh Fridays here on Betting with the Bag, and we have just the man for the job. Last year's performance, season long, too. We're not talking a month or two. We're talking season long performance. Is absolutely spectacular. The best performance we've had from any capper in my 5 years here doing this publicly, and he's in action with us on Fridays. Right now, December 30th, he's here with you. The last time we will see him here on the show for 2022. Please welcome to the show from Las Vegas, Nevada, Dutch Boy Fresh. Dutchy, what's good, my man? Happy holidays.
Motherfucking bag, my man. Salute to you. Salute to all the real ones holding us down in the chat. You already know it's all love, man. It's good to be back. Big weekend ahead of us. I know you had a long traveling weekend as well. I'm glad you were able to make it back in the seat. Let's get to this motherfucking bread, bro.
Let's go, man. It's been a long time, long 48 hours for me. And I've gotten a lot of work on some of the college games and stuff, but I haven't put in a lot of work here on the NBA card. So we as always will be leaning on your expertise here. So let's get started. We have 9 games on the NBA card. I always feel good when it's under 10, because on these Fridays we put you through the ringer here with these 14, 15 game cards.
Yeah, last year I got it kind of light with you. I believe we had like 3-4 game cards on Thursdays. Now it's like it's deep, bro. It's deep.
It's deep. Yeah, no doubt. All right, let's get to work here. We start at 7 p.m. Eastern. Washington Wizards at Orlando Magic. These Wizards 15-21, 5-14 on the road. At the Magic 13-23, 9-10 at home. Both teams have looked better at times this year than in past. We're at the Amway Center in Orlando, Florida. Let's start with the line history here for this one. We have Orlando opening up at +4. They're now +5.5. So we've had a 1.5 point move at Pinnacle towards the Wizards. From a total perspective, it opened up at 222. It shot all the way up to 225.5. So let's see if we can correlate that with the cash flow here in this one. We have 2,737 tickets in. This is the least bet game on the board, and not a ton of information because of it. Just 65% of the tickets are on Washington, but we don't know the cash flow. We have 71% of tickets on the over, but we don't have the cash flow there. So not a ton of information. Washington 4-1 over their past 5, playing at a pace of 97.6 possessions a game. Orlando 2-3, playing at a pace of 101. The Wizards coming off their third straight win, smackdown at home versus Phoenix on Wednesday, 127-102. Magic coming off their second straight loss, and it was a wild one. It was a wild one with suspensions and fighting, 121-101 at Detroit on Wednesday. Take it away for us, Dutch. I'm going to pull up the injury report, see if I can help out in those spots with any of the newest information. But the board is yours. Wizards, Magic.
Yeah, man. If I had to bet this game, it would definitely be the Wizards here. I know action for me here, Jim, but the Wizards have beat these boys 5 times straight. Haven't met this year, but most recently smacked around by 17. Obviously, the little tussle they had on the sideline is going to affect this basketball game, I believe. You can only look Washington. The fact is, do you want to lay 5 points with them here? But yeah, man, they've been playing better basketball. They smacked around the Phoenix Sun, and me and Bobano on the NBA Pub-Up kind of seen that Phoenix put a lot into that game against Memphis, kind of overlooked the Wizards, I think. And the Wizards do got enough talent. They got Hachimura back. Bradley's playing. KP, if he's in it, he has his moments as well. Will Barton, Monte Morris. So I honestly personally think with the Orlando's issues right now, the only side you could play here would be the Wizards. They are 5-1 ATS last 6 overall. I know they're coming off a big game, but maybe a little bit more momentum against a Magic team who's kind of fell back to reality a little bit of late. And of course, with the issues after this fight, whatever you want to call that.
Yeah, I wonder if that creates a situation where Suggs, I guess he's still out, but God, they need him. Going over the suspensions for Orlando here, this is who is missing. No Cole Anthony, no RJ Hampton, no Gary Harris. So it's going to be a Markelle Fultz show. And I guess Terrence Ross will have to move to the 2. And then you'll have Wagner at the 3, Banchero at the 4, and Bol at the 5. And then who is on the bench?
Right.
Because there's no Wendell Carter, there's no Mo Bamba, there's no there's no Moritz Wagner. Also, it's a huge Spenny says Orlando is 8 guys tonight. Wow.
Yeah.
Schofield is the bench. He says, yeah. That's interesting. I wonder if it helps them early in the first half, the guys knowing. Sometimes it helps when you're like, I know I'm going to play 40 minutes tonight. Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, Orlando first half maybe, or first quarter maybe. But I definitely think Wizards full game here would have to be the look.
Yeah, finish them off. And yeah, I guess it's just too many moving parts. You'd have to sit with it for a while. Okay, Bull going to get his run. I wonder if Magic early is... okay, I'm going to put question marks around that. Certainly not going to bet that after the game. Let's move on to the next spot on the board. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. LA Lakers 14-21, 6-13 on the road at the Atlanta Hawks. 17-18, 11-7 at home. We're at State Farm Arena for this one. Lakers 1-4 over their past 5, 100.4 possessions a game. Atlanta 2-3, playing at 101.20 possessions a game. Spenny, what are you moving on Wagner 25 plus, and what else how else are you moving on this one? Be interested in because I see you're kind of dialed in on this Magic spot. Lakers coming off their 5th loss in 6 games, 112-98 Miami on Wednesday, and we finally saw the weight of losing affecting LeBron James, who says he just won't be out there just to play ball. He wants to win. He's not going to sit there. There's a lot of people we can blame, but I think you blame him and the front office staff, for all of this, right? I mean, look at the decisions.
He's running the show, man.
Yeah. So I mean, but I can understand it weighing on him. So they're playing 100.4 possessions a game. Let's take a look at the line history here. Again, Atlanta comes off their 2nd straight loss, 108-107 at home to Brooklyn on Wednesday. And if you watched Dutch's breakdowns from 3 weeks ago, a month ago, he said straight up, Brooklyn is bet on right now. And they've certainly proven that. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. We have the Lakers open up at plus 7.5. They're down to plus 7. It got down to 6.5 for a minute there. From a totals perspective, it opened up at 239 all the way up to 241.5. I mean, it's unbelievably high. It's ridiculously high to me. These teams aren't playing that fast. Atlanta playing a 101.2 possessions game. Lakers playing at 100.4. These are the last 5 games. Remember, beginning of the year, Lakers were playing at 105, 106 possessions a game. That's changed. I don't know if Darvin Ham has an idea of what he's doing here. But take it away for us here. Lakers, Hawks.
Yeah, man. I definitely, it is LBJ's birthday. I could only look at this game probably from a props perspective, really. And I hate to say it, though. Like, it seems like a lot of points, but I think it might be a lot of points for a reason. The Lakers are suspect as fuck on the road, man. And now they're obviously no inside to protect the paint without AD out there. No offense really coming from the inside as well. They're 0-7 ATS last 7 versus a team with a winning home record. Straight up winning home record. And Atlanta does have that. Atlanta's not a team I'm really in the business of backing, especially laying a touchdown with the hooker against a team that they probably should. With Trey coming back, probable. Capella is out, but Deontay Hunter is probable or questionable, I believe, as well. It looks like both of these guys will go. if that affect, who knows, that could affect them in a negative way with Trey. Obviously, from a defensive perspective, they're not as good of a defensive team with Trey in the starting lineup with Trey and Murray running that backcourt. I know we're big on NBA Pub right now on the over with the Lakers, but yeah, this number has kind of got carried away. But I would expect LBJ to have his way on the court, and I would look for Okuanga or Okuanga, however the fuck you say dude's name. He had a double-double last game, 18 and 13 against Brooklyn. I touched on, LA's suspect inside right now, front line. He should be able to eat against this. With no Capella out there, he should be able to get some rebounds, and I do see him getting them points. Maybe take a look at a double-double with him. But I definitely expect LBJ to load up the stat sheet tonight, as long as he suits up, which it looks like he will play. But yeah, man, 7.5 seems very high. I think a lot of people will probably go to the window with the Lakers, but don't be surprised if they do get run out the gym at the end of the day.
6,894 tickets in, so it's the most bet game on the board at this point. 48% of the tickets on Atlanta, but 75% of the cash. So the big bet's coming in on Atlanta. Then you have 85% of the tickets on the under, but it's moved up to 241.5. That'll keep me off betting the under. The books are going to keep raising it to get under cash. So, it looks like the sharps are on Atlanta, and I don't know what the hell's going on with the total. We don't have a cash line on that total. Dan Kelly says Lakers playing 9th game in 15 days. Wow. Okay, so this will be a stay off spot. Let's move on. 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Phoenix Suns 20 and 16, 6 and 11 on the road at Toronto Raptors 15 and 20, 10 and 8 at home. We're at Scotiabank Arena in Toronto, Ontario. Phoenix 1 and 4 over their past 5, 97.47 possessions a game. Toronto playing very slow, 2 and 3, 94.73 possessions a game. Van Vliet out with the back injury. Suns coming off their 4th last in 5 games, an ugly 127-102 setback at Washington on Wednesday night. Raptors are on the second half of back-to-back after their second straight loss, 119-106 at home to Memphis last night. Just got outclassed by Memphis. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. We have the Raptors opening up as 1.5-point favorites at Pinnacle. That's where they are right now. No movement. But total-wise, open up at 223.5, now at 222. I mean, I get why I imagine if there's sharp money here on the under, I'm going to move with it. But we don't know what the hell's going on. All we know is 95% of tickets are on the over. We don't have a cash flow yet. 62% of tickets are on the Raptors. Don't have cash flow there either. Take it away for us here, Suns, Raptors.
Yeah, man, it's a tough one right here. Obviously, Van Vliet is questionable. He didn't play last night. I think that had a lot to do with Memphis really putting it on him. But I don't know about Toronto, man. They seem, we talked about it last time, Jim. You said they might be going to the lottery, and man, it's looking like it, man, because they haven't. They had their moment where they played against Cleveland and New York, had 2 big road victories, and then came right back to the crib and got smacked around by the Clippers, and now Memphis. So you would think after Phoenix getting smacked around by the Wizards, they would come in there and handle business. But man, they're missing some guys on the Phoenix side as well. Will Toronto show up after getting smacked around? I think if Van Vliet's out there, I wouldn't be mad at that look, but I want to know if Van Vliet's playing. Phoenix has had their way with Toronto, but maybe if Toronto first half spot, if we can get Van Vliet in there. I'm not too interested in this game simply because of the fact that Phoenix has not been playing very good basketball. Lost, as you touched on, 4 out of the last 5. The only game they won was that one where they put it on Memphis, kind of a get back spot when they got blasted on the last Friday night. So yeah, I don't trust Phoenix right now, to be quite honest with you, with the lineup they're putting out there. And I don't know how you could trust the Toronto Raptors. This team has talent. They cannot shoot from the perimeter. Very suspect. And obviously if Van Vliet's out there, if not out there, that's even, he's the best shooter they got. So if he's not out there, it's even going to be even more harder for them to put the ball in the bucket. But yeah, this could be a grimy, maybe a Toronto first half spot here. Let me see if Van Vliet suits up. He's questionable. I think he moved to questionable. So
I bet you Masai is talking trade with him right now, because we have got pieces for the Suns, and I know Bo Jackson says Raps will make the postseason. I said it on the show. I think the Raps trade their pieces and figure out, just regroup and take another shot at it in the next couple of years. There's going to be moves made. We've got talk about bigs, and Bo Jackson say pay attention to Precious Achua. We got bigs that people can use. No, they're not bigs. Whatever. We got 6'9" guys.
You got wings. You got a lot of wings, man. We need some shooters. Get a couple shooters in there.
Well, we thought Gary Trent was a shooter.
Yeah,
I did.
I mean, he looked like one for 2 years, you know. But yeah, I personally, I think Gary Trent and Fred VanVleet's too small of a backcourt, anyways. You know, starting backcourt. But yeah, I mean, he's definitely fell off.
I got my Delano Banton jersey. I'm fine, man. I don't need to care about anybody else on this fucking squad. Dan Kelly, first quarter, Phoenix, Toronto over, and Sammy, we're making it's I don't know what I guess unfortunately I mean kind of in a defeatist attitude about the Raptors. You probably see it with the way I'm talking about them. So
would you take Trey? Would you want Trey's last?
Oh yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. If he would want to come here.
Yeah, I mean, I think he could be all right. I think he'd be all right in Toronto. Surround him with all them fucking length. You know what I mean?
I think he'd like the city, but he'd have to want to come here. Like,
right,
so
right. He'd have to want to come. Yeah. But I mean, you get rid of VanVleet, maybe OG.
We'd have to give something up.
Yeah, VanVleet and OG probably.
OG is sure is an asset. But if anyone take VanVleet off our hands, I mean, it's not that we don't like these guys as people and players, but we got to regroup and start.
To me, it's all about roster too. Like, to me, Trey has to fit a certain spot. I'm not a big Trey fan, but he could do certain things. You surround him with all the length you got in Toronto, makes up for his little ass a little bit, you know?
Yeah, and also he's got so much to prove all of a sudden.
Right. You know, now
Luka the Don being the superstar that he is. And
he ain't going to ever get up to there, bro. Come on.
No, but when Trey's had something to prove like he did in the playoffs 2 years ago, he stepped up. You know?
Yeah, for sure. Trey got heart. I'll give him that. He's just not what everyone thinks he is, but he's a nice piece, you know? If he's one of your 3 best players, if Scotty could get back to what he was, keep improving, and Siakam plays nice. I mean, that's a nice little 3-piece you got going.
Yeah, no, we could definitely work with that. Yeah. The problem is you never know if someone actually wants to come to Canada.
Exactly.
Got to get them out to Carabana. If we could just get them to
we did go to Oklahoma, so you know.
You're right, yeah. But that was when he had everything to prove, and where they were like, "Look, you'll have the ball all game long." You know,
yeah, it was little fucking mini me staff and shit.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, you're right.
No action there for us in Suns Raptors. Let's move on. Pistons Bulls next up. United Center, Chicago, Illinois. Pistons 9-28, 4-15 on the road. Bulls 15-19, 8-8 at home. What a lost season this is for the Pistons. 1-4 over their past 5. They snapped their 6-game losing streak in a fight-marred 121-101 win at home over Orlando on Wednesday. 100.7 possessions a game. Chicago playing even slower, but they're playing well. Coming off their 4th win in 5 games. 119-113 at home in overtime over Milwaukee on Wednesday. 98.06 possessions a game. I wonder if this is a spot where they're not fully focused on what's going on here after that big win against the Bucks, because the Bulls opened up at -9. They're already at -8. But total wise opened up at 230, now at 230.5. I wonder if there's sharp money on Detroit. We'll go over the suspensions as well, but there is 50% of tickets, 81% of cash on the Pistons. I wonder if they, I'd love to hear what you have to say about it. Why don't you take over Pistons Bulls?
Yeah, man. I've actually been a little bit higher on the Bulls here. Obviously, they're not. I did like them against Milwaukee. They've been playing a little bit better. Thought it was a look-ahead spot against Houston, and it clearly was. They didn't only, not cover. They lost fucking outright as 9-point favorites. And I'll be quite honest with you, Jim. I see the same thing happening tonight. I might have to get to the window with Detroit Pistons. I'm not in the business of betting Detroit basketball. Little gritty. I got to check in a little bit who's all going to be out there in the roster. But I simply believe this is the same exact spot as we had the other night. I thought the Bulls would be looking ahead to Milwaukee. Now they're a little fat and happy after beating Milwaukee, and then now they got Cleveland on deck tomorrow with the lonely Detroit fucking Pistons coming to town as a 9-point favorite. So I think you kind of have to load up. I think you kind of have to just kind of back the fact that the Pistons will be ready to play basketball, and I don't know if Chicago will. And if you're giving us 8 to 9 points, that's a significant amount of points in the basketball game. I think could be very competitive throughout. So. The Pistons play gritty basketball, but Bogdanovic can, score with the best of them. So as long as they have enough out there, I see them playing. I see them competing in this basketball game simply because I believe Chicago will be on cruise control.
I agree. And Killian Hayes is the only one suspended. So unfortunately, if you watch the game, you have to watch a lot of Corey Joseph. But I agree. I think this is the spot. But Preston Ekdahl bet Bulls first quarter, first half, and full game already. Wow.
Yeah. Did Preston know that they play Cleveland tomorrow? No. No.
Wow.
Shout out to our guy Preston. Yeah, I don't like seeing that, but yeah, like I said, it's hard for me to bet Detroit, but it's like staring at me in the face. I know our guy Sam Comer, likes to bet Detroit a little more than me. I wonder how he feels about this game. But yeah, I just think simply spot wise, I think Chicago's playing better basketball.
Oh, yeah.
They had a 3-game winning streak going into Houston or at home against the Rockets as 8.5-point favorite. They have Milwaukee on deck 2 days later, actually, and they lose outright. Now we got them fat and happy after beating Milwaukee with a huge game. Cavaliers on deck tomorrow. It seems like it screams Detroit basketball.
It works out perfectly. Yeah. Coming off an overtime win on Wednesday, playing against the extremely important game. And this team's 5-5 8-8 at home. Strong going Detroit first quarter. And Sammy says he wants nothing to do with this. I think I do. I think I do want Pistons plus 8, but I'm going to take a little bit more time on it, knowing that Preston's tripling up on the other side. All right, let's move on. 8 p.m. Eastern, Timberwolves, Bucks. Timberwolves 16-19, 7-11 on the road. God, unbelievable. Bucks 22-12, 14-3 at home at Pfizer for Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Both teams 1-4 over their past 5. Minnesota playing at a much slower pace, 97.7 possessions a game. Milwaukee at 100.8 possessions a game. Both teams coming in off 4 straight losses. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one, Minnesota-Milwaukee. We have over here. We have Minnesota opening up a plus as 5.5-point dogs. They moved to 6.5. It dropped to 6, back to 6.5. Total wise, opening up at 229 now, 227. And cash flow here. We don't know where the cash is on the spread, but 73% of the tickets are on the Bucks, and 84% of tickets are on the over, but we don't know the cash there either. Dan Kelly says tonight Milwaukee's playing their 16th straight game and last game of a streak where they did not have 2 consecutive games at home or 2 days off at home. It's the longest streak by 4 of any team this season. It's probably a big reason for the 4-game losing streak they're currently on. This game will be tough, but their next game should be a big relief for them. Wow, I love it. Minnesota comes in off that 119-118 loss at the Pelicans on Wednesday. And the Bucks coming off that 119-113 overtime loss at the Bulls on Wednesday as well. Take it away for us, Dutch. Timberwolves, Bucks.
Yeah, man. And I thought this would be an issue here with Milwaukee. That was some good shit from our guy DK there. But, they obviously had a 5-6 game road trip, and this is what they had. They came back home. This is the first game back after it, right, Jim? This is kind of one of these things we've talked about trying to stay away from. But when I look a little more into it, obviously this is a really good basketball team that's lost 4 straight basketball games in a row. So I think at any time that you can get them at a spot like against a team that we know their levels above is a spot that I want to attack, first of all. But second of all, let me get in a little into that. Now, they played Boston. They had 2 days off, and then they played Chicago, which is an hour and a fucking 15-minute drive from Milwaukee. So they literally been chilling. They had that game against Chicago, been back to so really it hasn't been just 1 day back off at the crib. They had 2 days off after the Boston game, and then the short travel to Chicago, back to the crib in Milwaukee here. And they're getting a team, they're getting a team. Obviously, I would like to see Drew out there in Middleton, but I think they're getting a team they're just simply better than. With Carter, with Carter, we got Lopez. Obviously, we got Giannis, and then of course I'm drawing a blank on I think Matthews is in the starting lineup with the dirty little fucking player from Duke. I don't know
Grayson Allen.
Yeah, Grayson Allen. Yeah, my fault. Yeah, drawing a blank on Grayson Allen. I think this is enough. Obviously, they need to hit perimeter shots with Bobby Porter coming off the bench, but knock down them threes at the crib. That's what they'll do. I like Milwaukee here. I think Minnesota is a fade. And Milwaukee here losing 4 in a row, back at the house where they love to be, man. Come on, 14-3 straight up at the house, 12-5 against the number at the crib. These 2 teams did play November 4th with Anthony Towns on the court, and Drew Holiday did play in that game as well, just to be fair. But November 4th in Minnesota, they beat them from start to finish. They're up +7 at the half. Did beat them by double digits. And at the house, Milwaukee, like I mentioned, has been money all year, especially of late. The last 4, the 4-0 ATS, not only first half, but full game. Last 4 at the crib, double-digit wins in all 4 against some pretty impressive competition in that span as well. Minnesota is pretty much a fade, especially on the road. Lost 6 of the last 9 games on the road. They've lost 4 straight in a row here. Been traveling a little bit as well. So I look for Milwaukee just to put it on them from start to finish here. I like the Bucks here minus the 3.5 first half and -6 full game.
And Dan agreeing with you here says Dutch is right about that last road game in Chicago. Only an hour and a half drive from home. Tonight might be the big relief effort. Yeah,
I see that. That's what I see. Obviously losing 4 straight, good basketball team, sleeping well, and like I mentioned, like when I looked into it, I was like, okay, this could be a stay off factor because of the road that we've touched on. But when I looked a little more into it, it definitely seems like this team should be well rested and ready to rock and roll against the team we know they're better than.
Yeah, an angry group as well.
Very angry.
Yeah. I like this. I like where you're at with this. We can get you the minus. -3s, -116 first half, -3.5s, -110.
Yeah, let's do the 16 and let's get. You got the 6. The 6 was available right before I got on the show at William.
Half -3. Let's see full game here. I'm interested in this look. Let me see if I can pull up this here. Move over to see if I can get. They only have 6.5s on this board, but I'm sure that 6 is going to be cheap. So let me just move over here and pull up the 6s -113.
We'll take it. I got it at 110. So
all right, full game -6 -113. I also with a team like Minnesota, like with another team coming off a 119-118 loss at the Pelicans on Wednesday, you might be, they could bounce back here. Maybe they're angry or, what have you. But against Minnesota, a team where you don't trust their heart, a 119-118 loss, a heartbreaking loss, that maybe doesn't help them here. Maybe they're yeah, like it. Maybe
D'Lo sounded fucking defeated in the conference talking about Zion. He playing football, we playing basketball, and I just don't honestly. Yeah, you said it, man. Like these guys, I think they're already fucking planning what they're going to be doing tomorrow night. This is the team I could count that I really just don't think we can count on bringing it, And this is just a spot for me where I really trust Milwaukee here. They've handled business against better teams at the crib most recently, all year long, really, but they've been covering the number very well the last 4. So I look for them to get right here against a Minnesota team that I just have no faith in whatsoever.
Yeah, no, I like it. Also, there is a 6 available at a -110. So
okay,
is that right? Yeah, -6, -110. Thank you, North Ender, for finding that. I don't know why that wasn't listed for me here, but yeah, that's so -6, -110 is available right now at Bet365. We move on, and I like it. I'm interested in what you're doing here. I'm going to put a bunch of asterisks beside it. Love the breakdown of the travel schedule and all that. It makes a ton of sense. Let's move on. 8:30 p.m. Eastern. Philadelphia 76ers, 20-13, but just 6-8 on the road. At the Pelicans, 22-12, 15-4 at home at Smoothie King Center in New Orleans, Louisiana. Go over to the line history here for this one. We have wrong game. Move over here. We have the Sixers opening up as 2-point dogs. They're now 1-point favorites. So on the money line, they open up at +111. They're now -108. From a totals perspective, open up at 226.5, now 229.5. So big jump in the total. Let's take a look at the cash flow and see where that takes us here for this one. We have 6,894 tickets in. 34% of the tickets, but 48% of the cash is on the Pelicans. But market moving briskly over to the Sixers. And then 72% of the tickets, 82% of cash on the over. And that's moving quickly. So Philadelphia playing at a slow pace, playing well. Had their 8-game winning streak snapped in 116-111 loss at Washington on Tuesday night. But over the last 5, they're 4-1, obviously, and playing at the pace of 96.1 possessions a game. Pelicans 4-1, playing at the pace of 102.86 possessions a game, coming off that loss on Wednesday. Coming off that win at home over the Timberwolves on Wednesday. 119-118. We're talking about on the other side in the Bucks-Wolves game. Take it away for us here, Dutch. Sixers, Pelicans.
Yeah, man, this one's a tough one because Pelicanos have been tough at the crib, and I don't really trust Philadelphia as much. But I mean, they've been playing good ball. You mentioned it. I just think they do have OKC on deck tomorrow. I don't think they're really worrying too much about that. But from the other side, I do think the Pelicanos are going to be thinking about the Memphis Grizzlies tomorrow. So I do think this is a Philly spot. Haven't went to the window with it yet. A lot of talk about Zion just bullying motherfuckers was Embiid can really bully motherfuckers. So I would expect Embiid to have a big game, kind of put his imprint on this basketball game. Big Val ain't got nothing for him. If Embiid plays aggressive, you'll see who's the more dominant player on the basketball court. And sure as hell ain't Zion if Embiid is dialed in. So a lot of talk about that. I think Embiid listens to that talk. I believe he'll be ready to go. Hopefully James Harden isn't already on vacay mode and thinking about, what club he's going to be at because, we want him dialed in. He's been playing good basketball. So I look for the Pelicanos to be, realistically thinking about tomorrow night's basketball game. I think we could maybe see even the the Sixers putting it on the Pelicanos tonight, maybe even sit some boys tomorrow, feeling kind of good about themselves against OKC. That's the way I see it. Haven't bet this basketball game yet, though. And the Pelicans are 0-5 ATS last 5 on 1 day's rest. Like I mentioned, Philly's been playing great basketball. Don't trust them as much on the road. They did lose most recently to the Washington Wizards. Full healthy and still losing to the Wizards. So I would like them. I would, but asking this team just to win a basketball game at this line with them having Memphis on deck, I would have to look to Sixers here, Jim.
I agree. And I can understand your hesitancy when you look at the road record and taking that loss at Washington. So I agree. I've got asterisks and question marks beside it. So I'll take another look here after the show. All right, let's move on. We have 3 games left on the NBA card. Don't forget, Cappers contest pops off at 2 p.m. Miami Heat at Denver Nuggets. Heat 18-17, 7-9 on the road. Nuggets 22-12, 12-3 at home. We're at Ball Arena, Denver, Colorado. Heat coming off their second straight win, 112-98 at home versus the Lakers on Wednesday night. 3-2 over the past 5, playing at a very slow pace, 95.6 possessions a game. Denver had their 5-game winning streak snapped in that 127-126 loss to Sacramento on Wednesday. 4-1 over the past 5, playing at a pace of 98.84 possessions a game. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. We have the Nuggets opening up as 3.5-point favorites at Pinnacle. They're now 4-point favorites. I did see it much bigger on other offshores. So Bet Online, for instance, opened this up Denver -5. And it moved it to -4. So that's interesting. Pinnacle opening up -3.5 this morning. Now it's up -4. From Tola's perspective, opened up at 223.5, now at 224. I'd be curious. If there's sharp money on the under, I'd be interested in joining them because we don't know. 65% of tickets are on the over. And what did that total do here? Sorry, it went up a half point. I mean, that's a really slow pace that the Heat are playing. But the Nuggets usually play to the pace of their opponent. Like when they play the Celtics, they'll go for 130, 135 points or whatever they need to do. When they play other teams that are slower, they'll slow down. When they play Sacramento, it's 127 points. Let's hear what Dutch has to say about it. Take it away, Dutch. Oh, I didn't give the cash on the so 5,525 tickets in on the side, 33% of tickets, 38% of cash on the Heat. Take it away, Dutch. Heat, Nuggets.
Yeah, man, this is a tough basketball game strictly just because who's going to be suiting the fuck up. A lot of question marks. Obviously, every damn game for Miami. Getting a Capper's nightmare with this team. Who's going to be suited up? And then now Denver has a lot of guys questionable as well. With Murray being questionable, I believe Eric Gordon might be back. Michael Porter Jr. coming off a huge game. Denver is playing better basketball, and they have put it on Miami. I mean, they smacked these motherfucking boys around. 4 straight basketball games by double digits. They beat these boys. I would look for it to continue at the house. I just want to see who's going to be in the lineup, who am I playing against, and who is suiting the fuck up for Denver. A lot of question marks on both sides, but Miami has been suspect, especially on the road. Denver has been getting back to what they should be doing, winning basketball games at the house with that home court advantage in the altitude. Murray's questionable, but Michael Porter Jr., Bruce Brown, I believe, is questionable as well. A lot of questionables I've seen from Denver's side. I need to know who's playing, and I would like the Nuggets here.
Yeah, a lot of questionables on that side because we got Aaron Gordon as well. And then with the Heat, you have probables now with Butler and Jovic. So, but Caleb Martin questionable. But now we've got probables on the other side. So, Northander says he likes the Nuggets a bit. I'm going to need a little bit more time here. And again, if Dutch wants to tweet anything out, we can put it on his record. But, yeah, this is tough until we know exactly what's going on with Denver, with Brown, Gordon, Murray, all questionable. Okay, so we'll move past it. Next up for us, 10 p.m. Eastern, Portland Trailblazers 18-16, 10-10 on the road. Golden State Warriors 18-18, 15-2 at home. Who would have thought that these two teams would be 18-16, 18-18 at this point? Chase Center in San Francisco, California. Portland had their 3-game losing streak snapped their 3-game losing streak, I should say, in a 124-113 win at home for Charlotte. Warriors won their third straight game, 112-107 at home over Utah on Wednesday night. So Portland 2-3 over the past 5, playing the pace 98.3 possessions a game. Warriors 3-2, playing the pace of 103.20 possessions a game. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. We have over here. We have the Blazers opening up as 1.5-point favorites. They got up to 2.5. They got up to more than that. They got up to 3-point favorites at Pinnacle. They were 3-point favorites when? They were 3-point favorites this morning from 8:47 a.m. all the way until 10:13 a.m. Then 2.5, then 2, now 1. From a totals perspective, opened up at 231, now up to 232.5. And when we take a look at the cash flow here for this one, 41% of the tickets, 38% of the cash on the Blazers, and then 56% of tickets, 83% cash on the over. Take it away for us here, Dutch. Blazers, Warriors.
Yeah, man, I like the Blazers here a lot. It's Rip motherfucking City. It's a spot here. I think they're going to actually take advantage of a team that is obviously without a couple of their big guns. No Steph, their biggest gun, and then no Wiggins. And a team that has been struggling pretty much all year long. On top of it, have been money at the house. But come on, man. It's Dame time, and the motherfucker's coming home. I believe he'll have a big game tonight. I believe Jeremy Grant will have a big game tonight. Simons does his thing. Nurkic will be in the lineup. Give him enough. But it's all about Dame time. And I believe Jeremy Grant needs to have a good game as well, and I believe he will. Now, like I said, the Blazers have lost. They want to get right against the team and the Warriors. Kind of been bullying them a little bit lately, so let's beat the bully while they're down. The Blazers have lost 3 straight meetings to these boys. Most recently, a 37-point motherfucking loss in P-Town on February 24th. Them Blazers felt that, and they remember that shit. They've had 3 days off, 8-4, so a very well-rested team. They are 8-4 ATS last 12 basketball games, and this year, as a favorite, they're 9-5 straight up. I like this spot here for the Blazers. I like them first half and full game. The Warriors are 4-10 straight up this year as a dog. 1-4 ATS last 5 versus a team with a winning record. 1-3-1 ATS last 5 following a straight up win. I think the Blazers are too much. I think without Wiggins and without Steph, the Blazers are simply a better basketball team and a hungry team that wants to have something to prove, ready to rock and roll against the Warriors team who've, won a couple basketball games of late. Jordan Poole has been playing real nice. If you like anything from a Warriors perspective, I believe you do have to look for Jordan Poole. He will. He's had 20+ and I believe 5 of the last 6. So if you want to bet props on the Warriors side, I definitely look at Jordan Poole. But it's Dame time, man. Their first half full game. I expect the Blazers to show out tonight.
Yeah, I feel you. And I think that I agree with the over being bet here. And I think I'm going to move on this full game over. We have a couple options for you because both the money line now, first half and full game, is -115. So if you want to mess with -0.5, it's -105 for the first half. If you want to mess with -1, it's -110. What would you like to do?
Yeah, let's do that. Let's get this juice down a little bit today.
All right. So we have, first off, we have.
So the lines dropped to 1?
Yeah.
Wow. I have 2.5 on betting in GM right now. -105. I mean, that's just my account I'm just signed into right now.
I imagine that it's all going to move soon because this is like on the Pinnacle site.
Yeah.
So I imagine it's all going to move here in a second.
Well, fuck. If Dame gets announced out, I'm probably more confident in my fucking bet just because of the way the NBA is going. I ain't gonna lie to you. The more, your star player gets ruled out, you know what I mean? You're fucking winning the game. Shit. Definitely covering the spread.
Full game -1. No, I don't think that is.
No, I'm just saying. I don't think Dame's out either.
I'm saying that just here because the total's not dropping. The total is even juiced at 232.5. So I'm not sure what it is. It's -2. North Ender says right now at Bet365 over there. But yeah, -1 right now at Pinnacle. All right, I like it. So a double up spot there for Dutch.
Yeah, Nurkic is now questionable. I don't know. I thought he was ready to go, but that doesn't worry me too much. I don't really like Eubanks starting, but we'll get it done.
That's probably the move. Bo Jackson looking at Jeremy Grant for the Blazers, 2+3s. Dan Kelly has got his Golden State team total under 115. He's got the full game. He's got first quarter Phoenix, Toronto over, full game Detroit money line. He's also with Milwaukee. I like that they're both joining together on Milwaukee. I'm very interested in that. All right. So let's load into the final spot here. But yeah, because I thought that Nurkic was probable. So I guess he's moved from probable to questionable, which would explain the move. Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the final game here on the board. We got Dutch Boy Fresh Fridays. Utah Jazz 19-18, 7-13 on the road. Kings 18-15, 10-7 at home at Golden One Center, Sacramento, California. Utah coming off their second straight loss, 112-107 at Golden State on Wednesday. They're 2-3 over their past 5, playing at a pace of 100.8 possessions a game. Kings snapped their 2-game losing streak with a big 127-126 win at home over the Nuggets on Wednesday. They're 2-3 over their past 5, playing at a pace of 102.50 possessions a game. We'll start with the line history here for our final game of the show. Don't forget, Cappers contest pops off in 21 minutes. Sacramento opening up -2.5. They're now at -3. They got up to 3.5. Total-wise, opening up at 239, all the way up to 241.5. High total. Let me see the cash flow here. You got 62%. Oh, sorry. Here you go. You got 62% of the tickets on the Kings and just 41% of the cash. Then you have 52% of tickets on the under, but it's climbing. Take it away for us here. Last game on the board, Dutch Jazz Kings.
Yeah, man, this is kind of almost a spot too where kind of back against. It goes a little more deeper than the Blazer Warriors, though. The Kings have lost 8 straight games to the motherfucking Utah Jazz, right? 8 straight goddamn basketball games, and I don't think they're gonna lose 9. I think this is where the Kings are gonna take advantage of a spot, nice little spot here. Utah maybe not be tired is I think, but they are somewhat of a deep basketball team. But I just think the Kings, man, they play good basketball. They should have beat Denver back-to-back spots there. They get 1 out of 2 there. Obviously didn't have Sabonis for one of them. Sabonis coming back, man, showing that, look, getting 30 and 10 with a bum hand. So I like them tonight, man. I don't think they have absolutely nothing for Sabonis. You got Markin and Olynyk is your front line. This boy should eat all fucking night long. Fox coming off a 30-point win. I don't think they have anything for De'Aaron Fox. I believe both of these boys should eat. Monk coming off a 33-point game. He don't got to give me all that, but man, if you want to stroke, give me 15 or 18. That'd be pretty nice. The Kings are 12-3 straight up as a favorite, 7-2 straight up last 9 versus the Western Conference. And we could take advantage of a Utah team that is very suspect on the road, 7-13 straight up on the road overall this year, 1-8 last 9 road games straight up, and 1-4 ATS last 5 on the road. They do have Miami on deck tomorrow. I look for the Kings to finish off this year, which has been a solid basketball year for the Sacramento Kings. I look for them to finish off this night with a W and have a good weekend. Kings -3. It's good money, man.
Let's lock that in for you. Kings -3. I feel like it's kind of a suspect spread. It's now 2.5, so we can get you, but it's only if you wanted it there because it's -113 at 2.5. Let me just see what it would cost at Pinnacle, what they're doing with this here. This is the 2.5. I think it'd be a little more expensive. Let me just check. Yeah, -117. Do you want the 2.5 at -113?
We'll do that. We'll do the 3.
Do the 3. Okay, so we can get you a cheap 3 here, -105, -3.
Yeah. Even out that juice I laid a little earlier. Yeah, I have a feeling that a lot, people are going to be on Utah today, So, I'm a little higher on the Kings than some. I like the way they played against Denver back-to-back. I like what I've seen from Sabonis playing with that hurt hand. And I just think they have Utah's front court is just too suspect. and De'Aaron Fox should be able to get whatever he wants. So if they get enough from the bench, Harrison Barnes, Murray Boyd comes around, gives them a little bit. Sacramento wins this basketball game.
You are locked in. Let's review action here in NBA. Dutch, thank you for making the time to roll with us in holiday season. So Dutch opens up. So the first Wizards Magic. I have some interest in the Magic early. Lakers Hawks. The Sharps are on the Hawks even at this number. Suns Raptors. We've stayed off. I'm interested in the Pistons +8, and I believe that I may do that. Bo Jackson got a single ticket available for Suns Raptors tonight. Bo, I'd love to go to a game with you, man. I can't. I've got a family thing I got to take care of tonight. But Bo, are you on Twitter, Bo? I think you are, but let me know if you're on Twitter. I'd love to hit a game with you. Dutch gets his action started here with the double up on the Bucks. A play I'm very interested. First half -3, full game -6. Then some interest in the Sixers. I'm going to take more time in it. Staying off Heat Nuggets, but Dutch double up on the Blazers. First half -1, half -105, full game -1. I'm moving on the over. And then Kings -3 at -105 for Dutch Boy Fresh. Follow our man on Twitter at Dutch Boy Fresh. Enjoy the last 48 hours of 2022, Dutch, my man. I remember when you started getting rolling, I believe back it was 2021, right? You started to get rolling with us, and you've exploded on the scene, and you deserve all the accolades that you get and all the opportunities that you get. And we're very thankful to have you here at Pub. And I'm so thankful to have you here on Fridays as a colleague and as a friend, my man. So have a great end to 2022, and then we'll get that cash in 2023. You have any last words for the Cappers here supporting the show?
Yeah, man, I appreciate that, Jimmy. I appreciate the love from all the real ones in the chat. And, you vouched for me to go, Jim, so I appreciate you the most, my man. Salute to you and the fam. Happy motherfucking New Year to all the real ones, man. Y'all stay fresh.
There he is, Dutch Boy Fresh in the house. God, gets no better. It gets no better. Man, we also had Dan Kelly in the chat giving us his looks. And I love seeing them kind of get to the point of why they think this is a bounce back spot for the Bucks. I'll give a little shout out to our Dan Kelly. All right, let's review all action. The Cappers Contest show pops off in 15 minutes. I have a confirmation from Jose. He's going to be good to go there. So let's review all action here. Bobano's on UCLA first half -4.5 in the Sun Bowl. I'm staying off that spot. I don't know. I'm going to have to make some decisions here because there's a college basketball game I want to get in 14 minutes. But Bobano's on South Carolina +4.5. I'm interested in that. Then I'm going to be on Wyoming. I'm going to move on Wyoming. Then we have Bobano on Clemson, team total over 34.5. I like Clemson in this one, so I'm going to move on Clemson. I may double up first half full game. Certainly will be on some of that. Then I'm going to move on Notre Dame first half here. I'm going to do that. That game pops off in 14 minutes, but Bobano's on the other side of me. He's on Miami full game -2. Well, we're not really because I'm first half full game. I have interest in that under in the 14 minutes too in Navy Boston University, so I think I'm going to move on. So I think I'm going to move on those two spots. I'm definitely going to move on the under in NC State Clemson. Bobano is on Clemson money line. Bobano's on Siena +4. That's my only action, by the way, in college basketball, it looks like. Buffalo +15.5 and over 147.5. Bobano's on Army -5.5 and the over 145.5. Bobano moved on Sela. I get it. Some feels a little too good to be true with that spot here. And the market not moving towards the Lions. So while this makes sense to me from the X's and O's, I'm going to stay off of it. USC, Washington, no look. Oh, good. I've got action tonight. Thank God. I was like, fuck, going to be a boring night. Got Washington State first half. Pullman, baby, Pullman. Fuck yeah, man. That'll be fun. Those fucking bums better come through for me. I love betting against a team like UCLA on the first half after 10 days off, 11th ranked team, getting all the accolades, getting their dick sucked. Well, you're not going to get your dick sucked in Pullman. Then we head over to NHL. I'm moving on the Devils. I've decided to switch their flip, which I rarely do, but I'm going to flip. Hurricanes in regulation for Bobano, and then Oilers -104 and the over 6.5 for Bobano. Then we just reviewed NBA, so let's get our action. I got 12 minutes to get those college basketball plays in. Then I'll see you guys at the Cappers contest, and we get to work again in the NFL. I've got nothing, and we've got nothing without you guys. Johnny K, North Ender, AEOD, Gas Report, Dan Kelly, Rants, Lance LaRose, Justin McElvey, Cashman 19, Spenny Penny Bombs, Bo Jackson, Abel A, Johnny K. It's such a great group. North Ender, Derek Miller. Thank you guys so much for supporting the show. It means so much to me. And I'm so thankful for the opportunity to cap with you guys. And something I know that I have. Doesn't matter what goes on in my life. I know that I get the opportunity to cap with you guys. And it's so important to me. And as you know, I went down to Costa Rica 5 years ago and changed my life. And then when I came back, it was the pandemic and things were all messed up. And what's happened is it's you guys that I spend all my time with. It's you guys that have become my best friends. It's you guys that are messaging nonstop while the games are going on. And I'll always have the friends that I had before, but my life has changed for the better. And you guys are such a big part of it. So I'm excited, man. Excited about 2023. I'm beaten up right now after the 40-hour trip from Victoria to Toronto, but I'm really, really thankful and really excited to roll with you guys. And I thank you. Dan Kelly says, yes, I do have. So first half Utah money line, I got you. Thank you, Dan. Just put that under your stuff. Yeah, first quarter Phoenix Toronto. Get that in here. Beautiful. Golden State team total 115. I got you. I'll get another chance to say Happy New Year to you guys with the Cappers contest show. But then tomorrow I'm off. I'm back in action Sunday with NFL Pub on the 1st of January, and then the Betcast on Sunday night and Monday night. But have a real Happy New Year, and let's have a big 2023, and let's just keep doing what we're doing. 2022 was I shouldn't say extremely profitable because my unit size is just not big enough, but it was a profitable year. That's very, very important, with the young family and getting them into a house outside of Parkdale and shit like that. So we need to continue doing what we're doing, working together to defeat the juice, fighting the good fight, listening and working hard, and then reaping the rewards. So let's keep getting that cash. I appreciate all you guys. Happy New Year. Oh shit, I got to close this show as well. Here we go. Let's go out there and get that cash. Leche. Hey, Los Bookmakers. Yeah, Cappers contest, 10 minutes.